Chapter 780. Nephew Dongfang, this depends on Xiao Yin's wishes. Feng family head said, feelings can't be forced. If Xiao Yin agrees, I have no objections. Dongfang Hai frowned, but he quickly relaxed and said gently, I believe Xiao Yin won't object. I don't agree. Shi Shang interrupted Dongfang Hai. Dongfang Hai couldn't believe what he just heard. Xiao Yin. I don't agree. Shi Shang said word by word. Do you understand? Go back to where you came from. I won't send you off. Xiao Yin. Feng family head had to show his magnanimity as the head of the family. How could he chase him away like this? Xiao Yin, are you angry that I didn't come to see you for so many years? Dongfang Hai stood up anxiously. I was training outside and couldn't rush back. But I prepared a birthday present for you every year. Shi Shang, what does it have to do with me whether you come back or not? I won't go out in the future. I'll accompany Xiao Yin. Don't be angry. Are you leaving or not? Shi Shang's expression was fierce as he said angrily, if you don't leave, I'll get someone to beat you up. Dongfang Hai seemed to be frightened and took a step back. He was in disbelief, as if he couldn't believe that the gentle and soft-spoken little girl in his memory had become so rude. Xiao Yin, how can you say that? Feng family head stood up and walked in front of Dongfang Hai, separating the two. Nephew Dongfang, Xiao Yin has her own thoughts right now. Feelings can't be forced. Don't be anxious. Feng family head persuaded him and Dongfang Hai calmed down. I was too anxious. Feng family head patted Dongfang Hai's shoulder. He actually thought highly of this child. His family background was similar, he was talented, and he had a good personality. If it wasn't for the appearance of the state teacher, he really wanted to marry Xiao Yin to Dongfang Hai. Xiao Yin, don't be angry. We can try to get along for a while. When you like me, it won't be too late for us to get engaged. Dongfang Hai seemed to be afraid that Shi Shang would reject him. Then Uncle Feng, I'll go back first. I'll come visit another day. I'll send you off. I wouldn't dare to trouble Uncle Feng. Dongfang Hai politely refused. But the Feng family head had something to say to Dongfang Hai, so he had to send him out. Shi Shang looked thoughtfully at the two disappearing figures. This time, Dongfang Hai had actually come for her. Ever since that day, Dongfang Hai frequently went to the Feng family. The Feng family head didn't know whether to stop him or not. After all, he was the heir of the Dongfang family. If he stopped him, wouldn't he be disrespecting the Dongfang family? Shi Shang was a little annoyed with Dongfang Hai and wanted to find an opportunity to beat him up. When Shi Shang heard that Dongfang Hai was here again, he asked his men to bring him to a secluded place. She walked over slowly. Before she even got close, she heard an aggrieved voice. Brother Dongfang, why didn't you come to see Chi-Chi when you came back? I've been a little busy recently, so I apologize to young Mississippi. I'll apologize to young Miss another day. Dongfang Hai was still very polite. No need, no need. I didn't mean that. It's just that I haven't seen Brother Dongfang in a long time. Feng Chi-Chi's voice became softer and softer. Shi Shang stood in the distance and listened to their conversation. Feng Chi-Chi obviously liked Dongfang Hai. No wonder she was targeting him. Feng Chi-Chi and Dongfang Hai talked for a while before leaving. Shi Shang looked around. There was no one. She immediately rushed out. Dongfang Hai saw Shi Shang coming over and smiled gently. Before his smile could spread, he suddenly realized that Shi Shang's aura wasn't right. She didn't look like she was here to see him. She was clearly here to beat him up. Little sister Xiao Yin. Little sister Xiao Yin, your uncle. Shi Shang rushed over and kicked Dongfang Hai. Before Dongfang Hai could use his mystic qi, he went up and beat him up. Dongfang Hai wanted to resist, but Shi Shang interrupted his mystic qi every time. He couldn't use it at all. After beating Dongfang Hai up, Shi Shang grabbed him by the collar and pressed him against a pillar. Do you still want to be engaged to me? Little sister. Little sister Xiao Yin. Dongfeng Hai panted heavily. He couldn't even speak clearly. I really like you. You still like me even if I beat you up like this? Dongfeng Hai's heart collapsed. Who would like a violent maniac? Little sister Xiao Yin. Can you first let go of me? It hurts. I'm warning you. I don't care what you want from me. One word. Nothing. Shishang's sinister voice smashed into Dongfeng Hai's ears. Dongfeng Hai's body stiffened for a moment. Little sister Xiao Yin, you misunderstood. I really like you. Like me? Then are you willing to die for me? Die for me to see. Dongfeng Hai was terrified. Little sister Xiao Yin. Shishang let go of Dongfeng Hai and wiped his hands with a handkerchief in disgust. You're not even willing to die for me. Why are you saying you like me? Dongfeng Hai coughed a few times. He leaned against the pillar behind him and panted. There was still some fear in his eyes. How could he die for you just because he liked you? What kind of logic was this? He calmed down. Little sister Xiao Yin, if I die like this, how can I be with you? I can die for you but not like this. It's meaningless. Dongfeng Hai was very good at saying nice things. Shishang gritted his teeth. He tilted his neck left and right and clenched his fists as he approached Dongfeng Hai. Little sister Xiao Yin. Dongfeng Hai retreated. Shishang was approaching him. He swallowed his saliva and turned to run towards the Feng family's main gate. Idiot. Shishang didn't chase after him. He just gave him the middle finger. Host, why don't you want to kill him? You want me to kill him? No. But according to your style in the past, you should have drawn your sword the moment you went up. Why did you just beat him up now? This doesn't match your style. Who are you talking to? A voice suddenly came from behind Shishang. Shishang, where's I's sword? Why does this idiot always like to appear behind me? Causing trouble. Talking to a ghost. Shishang turned around and looked at the person standing behind him. His hair stood on end. Can you not suddenly appear behind me? Are you trying to scare me to death looking for a new lover? So what if you can control space? Yin Wei. What the hell is a new lover? Yin Wei replied very seriously, I don't have a new lover. The anger in Shishang's chest suddenly subsided. What are you doing here? I thought you didn't want to see me? She came and went as she pleased. Shishang's eyes darkened. The system kept sounding the alarm, reminding her not to be impulsive. This is your Feng Ci, not your pet. Don't keep thinking about snatching him back and keeping him. I came to see you. The corners of Yin Wei's lips curled up slightly. The aggressiveness on her body faded away. Only calmness was left, like the surface of a lake rippling in the breeze. Shishang suppressed the restlessness in his heart. Marry me and put me on display. What's the point of looking at me like this? Chapter 781. You want to marry me so badly? Did she eat all the girl's modesty? Shishang snorted. You can marry me too. I don't mind. The corner of Yin Wei's mouth seemed to twitch. There seemed to be wind blowing from all directions. Shishang grabbed her hand and gritted his teeth. You want to run away again? She ran away without saying anything. I don't have much time. I can't stay any longer. Yin Wei broke free of his hand. Her voice was light and seemed to be filled with affection. I'll come and see you another day. As soon as he finished speaking, Yin Wei's figure quickly disappeared in front of Shishang. Shishang's hand seemed to still be warm from his touch. Cold. It was as cold as 1,000-year-old ice. Just a touch and she felt that her hand was frozen stiff. It didn't feel like this last time. Side mission. Shut up. I didn't accept any side missions. You won't accept any side missions related to Feng Ci? The system was puzzled. Shishang snorted. It's just related to the identity he used. It has nothing to do with Feng Ci. Stop beating around the bush. Anyway, Feng Ci was either mentally ill or physically ill. She was already used to it. Really used to it. Calm down, calm down, calm down. Master, come back quickly. This host has become a spirit. After Dongfeng Hai was beaten up by Shi Shang, he didn't appear for a long time. The Feng family's annual exam was approaching. As a young lady who had been skipping classes for a long time, many people were waiting to see Shi Shang make a fool of himself. If she was beaten up in the Shi Shang exam, it would be a disgrace to the Feng family's head. Such a big family, there were many people competing openly and secretly. On the day of the annual exam, the Feng family's head took some time out to oversee the exam. Shi Shang sat in the back corner and watched the disciples fighting in the middle of the field. Third miss. A few people came to Shi Shang's side without him knowing. Shi Shang glanced at them. Shi Shang had some impression. These people were the ones from the Devil Flame Ridge last time. Shi Shang rarely appeared in the martial arts field. Even if he did, he might not meet these people. Therefore, this was the first time Shi Shang met these people since he came back. Third miss, I'm Feng En. Do you still remember me? Yes. Shi Shang replied coldly. What do you want? No. Feng En shook his head. I just wanted to say hello to Third Mississippi. Hearing this, Shi Shang turned his gaze to the front again. He had no intention of talking to them. They were a little embarrassed. In the end, they each found a place to sit around the Shi Shang. They thought that after what happened last time, Third Miss would at least accept them as her own people. Even if she didn't accept them as her own people, she would at least let them do things for her. But ever since Third Young Miss returned to the Feng family, she seemed to have forgotten about this matter. There were a lot of people taking the test, so the Shi Shang got bored and took out some sunflower seeds to eat. Is it really okay for the host to change her habits in every dimension? What kind of joke was this about eating melon seeds without saying a word? Also, where did you get the melon seeds? Feng An and the others were speechless when they heard the sound of her cracking melon seeds. She was actually cracking melon seeds at such a tense moment. Next, Feng An, when Feng An was called, he immediately got up and went up. Feng An's strength was relatively good among the younger generation, so he won easily. Those who won would be treated better next year, but those who were eliminated wouldn't have it easy. In a big family like this, without a backer like the original host and Feng Chi-Chi, they had to fight for their own resources. Feng An passed the test and was relieved. The others congratulated Feng An, but at the same time, they began to feel nervous about their next test. What are you nervous about? There are only two results. Either you win or you lose. Shi Shang joined the discussion while cracking melon seeds. As soon as Shi Shang spoke, the discussion stopped. They all looked at him with wide eyes. Third Miss, why aren't you nervous at all? Why should I be nervous? Shi Shang looked a little arrogant. I won't take away any resources if I lose. Everyone. That made sense. They were speechless. This was the difference between someone with a backer and someone without one. Who told her to be favored? Third Miss, do you need followers? They also wanted to be protected. Shi Shang looked at them with disdain. Nope. The people who were disdained knew it would be like this. How could Third Miss lack followers? Do you want to win? Shi Shang suddenly asked. Everyone nodded. Of course, they wanted to win. Which disciple didn't want to win this year's test? This represented their treatment and reputation for the next year. Shi Shang turned around. Let me teach you a way. Several pairs of bright eyes looked at Shi Shang in unison. What's the solution? Show off. Everyone, what kind of way was this? People bully the weak and fear the strong. The more you appear to be afraid of them, the more they will take advantage of you. When you act like you're not afraid of them and show them your trump card, they will be afraid of you and won't dare to attack you. What you need to do is to attack them when they are suspicious and kill them in one blow. The host is talking nonsense again. Do you think everyone is as perverted as you are? Those people were also a little confused. One of them couldn't wrap his head around it and said meekly, "We can't kill people of the same race." This rule existed in many planes. They could compete, but they couldn't kill people of the same race. This would weaken the overall strength of a family. Anyway, I've told you the way. It depends on you whether you can use it or not. Shishang turned back and continued to eat melon seeds. The master leads the way, but the cultivation depends on the individual. I'm such a person with great ambitions. Host, what are your ambitions? Teach people to show off and eat melon seeds? I think you haven't taken your medicine. Hurry up and take your medicine. Why give up treatment? Third miss, can you give me some melon seeds? He wanted to calm down. Hence, a small group of people eating melon seeds developed in the later rounds. When the people around heard the cracking sounds coming from the corner, they all blushed with shame. How could they eat melon seeds together in such a serious situation? Were they nervous? Soon, someone from the melon seed-eating team was called out. He took a deep breath and stood up. His face was tense as he walked down the stage aggressively. In this kind of assessment, there was definitely a big difference in strength. Usually, everyone knew each other well, but now, seeing the confident look on this person's face, the other party immediately felt a little nervous and suspicious. As soon as the two sides stood on the field, the assessment had already begun. According to Shishang, the man who went down first did indeed scare the other party. He finished the battle quickly and finished off the other party. There was a big difference in strength, so it was possible for anyone to win. It all depended on the opportunity and tactics. Obviously, Shishang's tactics were very practical here. In the following rounds, these people basically passed without any mishaps, but two of them were eliminated. Everyone comforted him and said that since they passed, they just had to look out for them in the future. Next, Feng Qiqi, Feng Jian. Chapter 782. Feng Qiqi vs. Shishang. This was the highlight of the day. Those who were tired from watching the match immediately perked up when they heard these two names. Feng Qiqi had already gone up the stage. However, the other one didn't go up. Shishang sat at the back like a lord. He had no intention of going up the stage. Why isn't third miss going up? She dares to go up? First miss has been working very hard recently. Third miss doesn't even come to class. Won't she lose face if she goes up? That's true. The discussions in the front kept spreading to the back. There were many nasty words. Anyway, there were many people who didn't like her. More and more people looked at Shishang's corner. Third miss, it's your turn, Feng reminded Shishang. No, it's boring. The originally noisy space quieted down for some reason the moment Shishang spoke. Her words were heard by almost everyone present. Third miss, this is the annual exam. You must participate, the elder who was the referee said. Little Een, the Feng family head, also called out. I don't want to fight. She wanted to see blood. She wasn't interested in this kind of fight. Feng family head. Didn't she say that she wouldn't lose face in the exam? She directly gave up. Third sister, don't worry. I'll go easy on you, Feng Qiqi stood on the stage and said considerately. I won't fight even if you go easy on me. Third sister, are you afraid of eldest sister? Afraid? When I was acting tough, who knows where she was? She was the ancestor of acting tough. The other party thought that there was a chance. Then why don't you go up? I'm too lazy to go up. Everyone, no matter what these people said, Shishang refused to go up. Feng Qiqi was a little unwilling. Third sister, this is the family's rule. You can't break it. Seeing that the next wave of persuasion was about to come, Shishang stood up and left the venue. Quickly go and chase the third miss back. Feng family head berated. His heart was tired. Why was his little Een becoming more and more willful? The Feng family head waved his hand. Let's move on to the next group. Shishang left the venue and jumped over the wall. She jumped across several courtyards and soon got rid of her pursuers. Stepping on the wall, Shi Shang quickly moved forward. The wind blew past his ears, bringing with it a hint of fragrance. The corners of Shi Shang's mouth twitched. She couldn't stop in time and crashed into the arms of the person who suddenly appeared. Yin Wei reached out and held Shi Shang's waist. With a few leaps, they landed on an empty path. Yin Wei saw that the expression of the person in her arms was not good. She quickly explained, "I didn't appear behind you." Shi Shang. Was there a difference between suddenly appearing in front and behind? Was there a difference? This idiot. Shi Shang felt that the hand on her waist was not cold. She reached out and touched it. It was a normal temperature. It was completely different from the last time. Why did you come out? Yin Wei's gaze fell on her hand. Today's the assessment. What does that have to do with me? Yin Wei. Every family's assessment was very important. She actually asked what it had to do with her. Shi Shang had already taken her hand and looked at it. What was the sentence you didn't finish last time? What sentence? Yin Wei was confused. I asked you why you won't hurt me. You haven't answered me yet. He had run away from her the last few times they met. The sun was shining brightly, and bits and pieces of light poured in through the dense canopy, landing on his hair and shoulders, making his skin look like white jade. Because... Yin Wei's voice was clear. I don't want to hurt you. Bullshit. Shi Shang looked up. That's not what you wanted to answer me last time. You're smart. Yin Wei pulled her hand back. Because you're the most comfortable girl I've ever met. What kind of adjective was that? I'm more comfortable when I'm asleep. What are you thinking about all day? Yin Wei was a little helpless. Didn't I tell you the first time we met? She didn't think about anything. She just wanted to sleep with him. Yin Wei didn't want to talk about such a frivolous topic with Shi Shang. He said softly, You give me a very comfortable feeling. It's like we've lived together for a long time. He didn't need much time and understanding to accept everything about her. That kind of familiarity that was engraved into his bones and soul. Shi Shang had a strange expression. Then why are you hiding from me? I'm not hiding from you. Yin Wei shook her head. I have to go. Wait a minute. Yin Wei's body froze. Shi Shang took out the watch from his space. Give me your hand. Yin Wei looked at the thing in Shi Shang's hand but still reached out her hand. Shi Shang pulled up her sleeve and put on the watch for her. When his fingertips touched her wrist, she felt a bone-piercing chill. Yin Wei lowered her head and stared at the thing on her wrist that she had never seen before. The part that was touching her skin actually started to emit warmth. Don't take it off. Shi Shang retracted his hand without changing his expression. Okay. Yin Wei nodded. I'm leaving. Yin Wei's figure flashed, and the space seemed to be distorted. A breeze blew, the leaves rustled, and the shadows on the ground shook. Shi Shang stood there for a long time before he turned and walked back to his house. Time limit, space, rules? Or punishment? Or was it a backlash? The plot only talked about Yin Wei and the female lead going against each other. It didn't explain Yin Wei in detail. But according to the normal setting, unless it was the female lead, other people who had the ability to control space and time would have to pay a corresponding price. The price. The State Preceptor's residence. Yin Wei's figure appeared from the void. Her body swayed and she fell onto the chair beside her. Her face turned pale instantly. The young man beside her immediately went forward. Sir. It's okay. Yin Wei's voice was very soft. You've been using it too often recently. The young man was worried. If you want to see third Miss Feng, just invite her over. Why? She can't come in here. Sir. The young man didn't understand. There were some bad things in the Grand Preceptor's residence, but it wasn't to the extent that one person couldn't come in. There were so many of them. Could it be that they couldn't protect a girl? Yin Wei looked at the young man. Don't act on your own. The young man frowned. Yes. You may leave. The young man went out with his head lowered. It was dark outside. As soon as the young man went out, a black shadow rushed over and pounced on the young man. The young man glared at it, and the black shadow stopped in mid-air. Suddenly, a strong wind blew, blowing the young man's thin body into the air. "He's going to die. Ha ha ha, he's going to die, isn't he? Ha 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 ha, retribution, retribution." "Shut up," the young man scolded. The black shadow became even more arrogant. Her sharp laughter spread in the darkness, and the sound of ghosts wailing and wolves howling could be heard. "Ha ha ha, he's going to die, he's going to die." Chapter 783. The Feng family head told Shi Shang about leaving halfway through the annual exam. But it was just a scolding and no other punishment. This degree of spoiling was unparalleled. The Feng family head's spoiling of Shi Shang naturally caused many people to be dissatisfied. The matter of her in the Devil Flame Mountain range was picked up by someone. Rumors spread that she was vicious and merciless. But what Shi Shang cared about was not this. Instead, it was that someone was passing on her sword. At that time, the people on the wall probably did not see what broke the defensive array. Only the Feng family disciples below knew. This news must have been spread by the people who were with her at that time. Flip's table. There are always idiots who covet this treasure's beauty. Iron sword. Aren't they coveting me? Master, what are you imagining? It's me, it's me, it's me. Shi Shang held down the trembling iron sword. She was not afraid of people coveting her things, let alone this sword. Shi Shang thought that this news was only spread within the Feng family. He never thought that this news would spread outside. Everyone said that the Feng family's third young miss had a divine weapon and could easily destroy a city. Outside the Feng manor, there were many people looking over. These people did not forget the matter of the Devil Flame Mountain range. In their eyes, Shi Shang was still a sinner. Before, the Feng family head was suppressing them, so these people did not dare to cause trouble. But normally, when they saw Shi Shang, they would point at him. But now that there was a profit to be made, these people did not have as many misgivings. How could a sinner have the right to a divine weapon? In a short period of time, this matter got out of hand. People came to the Feng manor every day. The Feng manor security had increased by several times. Now, when the Feng family disciples went out, they would be attacked. When a person is controlled by their desires, they can do anything. The Feng family had never thought that something that had happened so long ago would be brought up again. Someone is definitely spreading this on purpose. The Feng family head's people were indignant. This is only the beginning. Next. Our Feng family has been through so many years. What kind of hardships have we not experienced? Why should we be afraid of them this time? When a family's power was too great, they would be schemed against. The Feng family had stood at the top of the pyramid for too long, so they definitely had countless enemies. But don't you think this matter is too strange? Someone asked. The news spread too suddenly, and it spread too quickly. It didn't take long for the entire continent to know about this. Where's Third Miss? Does Third Young Miss really have a divine weapon? They didn't see Third Young Miss have any divine weapon. I didn't see her. I haven't seen her for the past few days. Everyone looked at each other, a little confused. So what was the situation now? The Feng family head calmly sat on the main seat and calmly ordered, "Go investigate who spread the rumors in the manor." Patriarch, it's not good. A person stumbled over. Third Miss has set up an arena in Splendid House. She said that she would give the divine artifact to whoever wins. What? The Feng family head was shocked, and the chair he was holding cracked. Third Miss really has a divine weapon? Setting up an arena in the Splendid Brothel, what does Third Miss want to do? The others also discussed in low voices. Splendid Brothel. The entire Splendid Brothel was very big. There were small pavilions on all sides, and there was an open space in the middle. Red lanterns hung from the top of the pavilions. There were also red lanterns hanging from the ceiling. At night, the entire splendid brothel looked bright red. The open space in the middle was prepared for the contestants, and the pavilions around it were for the spectators. At this moment, Shi Shang was sitting in the arena below. People who heard the news came one after another and surrounded Shi Shang in the arena. Is she really going to fight in the arena? Does she really have a divine weapon? Why would she take it out if she has one? Is she playing with us? Shi Shang sat on the stage and drank tea leisurely, ignoring the discussion below. Feng Jian, what are you doing? Someone couldn't help but shout. As soon as the voice came out, the whole place fell silent. Shi Shang put down his teacup and said innocently, I'm giving you a divine weapon. Isn't that what you want? Everyone. This was different from what they had imagined. If you have a divine weapon, shouldn't you be hiding it when so many people are coveting it? How dare you take it out so openly? Shi Shang pulled out the iron sword and inserted it into the arena. Instantly, a chill spread throughout the arena. Everyone standing close to the arena could feel the chill. The iron sword didn't hide any of its sharpness. Anyone who saw it could tell that it was a rare sword. Is it a divine weapon? I can't tell. I've never heard of such a divine weapon. The iron sword was too ordinary. It looked like a mass-produced weapon that everyone had. If it wasn't for the aura it gave off, no one would pick it up even if it was thrown on the street. Don't question it, Shi Shang said loudly. Come, look at me. We can discuss it later. Everyone. Do you think this is an auction? This sword is definitely a divine weapon. Calling it a divine weapon is an understatement, so there's no doubt that it's very powerful. If you haven't seen it before, it's because you're inexperienced. Go back and read more books. Don't come out and embarrass yourselves. Iron sword. Why did it feel like it was about to be sold off? Everyone was also dumbfounded. They didn't know what Shi Shang was trying to do. Since you say it's so powerful, why don't you show it to us? Someone in the audience questioned. Shi Shang sneered. Are you crazy? I didn't sell it to you. Why should I show it to you? There were idiots every year, but there were especially many this year. They were here to snatch something, and now they were asking others to show them how powerful it was. Was their brain filled with tofu? Then how do we know if you're lying to us or not? What conspiracy? Who would take out a divine weapon for others to snatch? Shi Shang put his hands on his hips and said angrily, Did I beg you to come? Did I ask you to snatch something? If you want something and want it to be foolproof, you might as well just lie in the ground. What's the point of living? The person who was rebuked was speechless. The others didn't dare to ask any more questions. The owner of this divine weapon was a little different from the normal people they had met. But to snatch it or not, Shi Shang continued, the rules of the arena are very simple. The sword will belong to whoever successfully defends the arena. The contract between her and the iron sword was more advanced than the contract between her and the space. The space contract was only a soul contract. After her soul was destroyed, the space could still be used by others. But this sword couldn't be used. No one could use it except her. If she died, the sword would be destroyed. Even if someone took it away, it would just be a broken sword. It was useless. Of course, it could be used as an ordinary weapon. At least it was so sharp. If these people wanted it so badly, then they could come and get it. It was useless to get it anyway. What was she afraid of? Chapter 784. Wait a minute. A man squeezed out of the crowd. Third Miss Feng, may I ask what the name of this magical weapon is? Name. What should I call it? The Iron Sword. Master, don't randomly change my name. My original name is very noble, really. Shi Shang thought for a moment, then said a few words, Peerless Sword. Everyone. Why did he think for so long? Did he just casually give it a name in front of them? This name was too random. I'll add one more thing. If you're killed, I won't be responsible. If anyone dares to ask me to take responsibility, I'll be responsible for your family reunion." Shi Shang laughed sinisterly. After saying this, he jumped down from the ring. "Let's begin." She didn't take the iron sword away. Everyone looked at the chilling iron sword on the stage at the same time. She just put the sword on it? Why didn't this girl follow the rules? The space froze for a moment, and no one moved. Shi Shang went upstairs and sat in the best viewing area. Finally, someone couldn't help but jump into the ring. He didn't fight, but directly went to grab the iron sword. His action stimulated the others, and they all jumped into the ring. Feng family head rushed over with his people and saw everyone jump into the ring. Then, in the next second, they were all bounced off at the same time and smashed into the surroundings. His daughter leaned on the windowsill upstairs and looked down with a smile. She said maliciously, "If you don't follow my rules, you have to pay the price. Do you really think it's so easy to take this thing?" The people who were bounced off didn't know what was going on. They jumped up, but before they could stand firm, they were bounced off in the next second. The force that bounced them off was swift and majestic. There was no way to resist. Only then did everyone look upstairs in shock. She dared to put the sword there. How could she not be prepared? Feng family head took advantage of these people's distraction and went upstairs with his people. "Xiao-yin, what are you doing?" Feng family head pulled Shi Shang from the windowsill. "Do you know the consequences of doing this?" "Father, they want it, so I'm giving it to them." "What's wrong with that?" The Feng family head was so angry that he gasped for breath. "You're making trouble." Shi Shang spread his hands and said, "I can't take it back now, so I can only continue to mess around." The Feng family head looked at the people below who were unwilling to give up. They continued to fight for the iron sword on the stage, but they were still sent flying. The announcement had already been made, and the dueling ring had already been set up. Those who had heard the news were already making their way over. It was indeed impossible to take it back now. The head of the Feng family felt that he needed to have a good talk with the Shi Shang. "You guys go out first." The others looked at each other and left the room one by one. After the door was closed, only Shi Shang and the Feng family head were left in the room. The Feng family head took out a stone from his sleeve and placed it on the table. The stone emitted a faint light. Like the light of a firefly, it could be extinguished at any time. "Little Een, tell me honestly, what did you experience in the Devil Flame Ridge?" Shi Shang glanced at the stone. "You didn't experience anything." "If you didn't experience anything, where did that sword come from?" Why did your personality change so much?" The Feng family head looked at the stone, and a faint light flickered in his eyes. "Your soul lamp is about to go out." Her soul lamp was getting weaker by the day. "Little Een, do you know what it means when your soul lamp goes out?" "Death," Shi Shang answered softly. "You have to tell me what happened in the Devil Flame Ridge. Only then can I save you." He had been thinking about this question recently. What had caused her personality to change so much that her soul lamp was about to go out? The only thing he could think of was the Devil Flame Ridge. The Devil Flame Ridge was mysterious and unpredictable. Anything could happen there. He had asked the disciples who had come out of the Devil Flame Ridge. It was there that they had met the level 5 Xian beast. After they had separated and met again, she had become a little different. Shi Shang sat down and rested his chin on his hand. "But I'm fine." The one who had died was Feng Jin. Perhaps it was because of her arrival that the original Feng Jin's body didn't extinguish her soul lamp immediately. The Feng family head choked. This was even stranger. There was nothing wrong with her body. In fact, she was more normal than anyone else. The weaker the soul lamp, the weaker the person's vital signs would be. However, the girl in front of him didn't look like someone who was about to die. "Then why did your personality change so much?" With the soul lamp and soul stone as evidence, the Feng family head had dispelled the suspicion that his daughter had been swapped. However, he still couldn't understand why she had changed so much. Shi Shang tugged at the corner of his lips and said softly, "Dad, everyone has to grow up. Human nature is ever changing." Who knows if a good person who was doing good deeds just a second ago will become a bad person with a record of evil? Shi Shang paused for a moment before he started talking nonsense. People are deceitful. They will cover up what they think is bad. Maybe in the past, I thought it was better to be like that, but after experiencing some things, I think it's fine as long as you're happy. Why should I care so much? Ha ha. I don't really want to talk to Feng Jian. Asterisk flips table asterisk. Do you think that everyone is as powerful as you and can do whatever they want? When you're willful, the whole world is your enemy. The Feng family head listened in a daze. He didn't understand what Shi Shang was saying. Shi Shang had fooled the Feng family head. However, it wasn't so easy to fool him about the arena. Is that sword really a divine weapon? It's the real deal. Why did you let them fight in the arena? Don't you think they're annoying? They wandered around the Feng family every day, so she gave them a chance. Feng family head. So in order to not annoy them, you let them fight in the arena? What if someone really took the divine weapon away? There were countless capable people on this continent. If they took it away, then so be it. We can just snatch it back. Even Feng Ci couldn't snatch it away. How could these idiots snatch it away? The Feng family head choked. Easy for you to say. Do you think it'll come back if you shout? If Shi Shang knew what the Feng family head was thinking, he would definitely reply with a serious tone, yes, it can. No matter what the Feng family head said, Shi Shang had something to say that he couldn't say a word. The arena had already been set up. If it was forcefully cancelled, these people would probably directly rush to the Feng family and slaughter them. In the end, the Feng family head could only acquiesce to this action. If the Feng family suffered irreparable losses because of a divine weapon, then the gains wouldn't make up for the losses. With a huge family, one couldn't be as willful as these people who were alone. If they died, then they died. There was no need to care. The Feng family head shouldered the entire family. He had to make the right choice for the family. Only the right choice could make the family go further. Chapter 785. News of the Godly Weapon Challenge quickly spread throughout the continent. Many people came for the Godly Weapon. Every day, Splendid House was packed with people. On the third day, Shi Shang put up a sign at the door. Anyone who wanted to challenge had to pay to enter. And it was a one-time fee. They had to pay again the next day. If they didn't want to pay, then they would have to wait outside. The consequences of trying to force their way in were usually very tragic. After a few times, no one dared to cause trouble and obediently paid to enter. After giving Splendid House a share, the Feng family made a lot of money every day. This way of making money was amazing. The system even suspected that Shi Shang took out her stupid iron sword just to make money. Shi Shang didn't come every day. She would occasionally come to Splendid House to take a look. Come, place your bets. Shouts came from below Splendid House. When Shi Shang walked over, these people automatically made way for her. She looked at the people on the table and placed her bet on one person. As soon as she placed her bet, others immediately placed their bets on another person. This third miss had never won a bet. Whoever she bet on lost. Shi Shang ignored these people's gazes and went upstairs to her usual room. When she opened the door, she saw a purple figure standing in front of the window with his hands clasped behind his back. This was the first time they met since Shi Shang gave him the watch. Shi Shang closed the door. Why are you here? Yin Wei didn't turn around. She continued to look down. It should be very important to you. Why did you take it out? It is very important. Without it, it wouldn't be good to show off. This treasure is my tool to show off. How could it not be important? Iron sword. Haha, in the end, I'm just a tool for you to show off? If I don't take it out, these people won't stop. Shi Shang walked to his side. Do you think anyone can steal it from me? What you want to do is not limited to this, right? Although Yin Wei used a question, her tone was declarative. Shi Shang's calm eyes rippled. You know me that well? Yin Wei turned around and stood face to face with Shi Shang. What do you want? I'm going to do something big. I'm going to conquer the Sea of Stars and marry a fair, rich, and beautiful woman. Bah! I'm going to marry you. The host is going to cause trouble. Previously, it had guessed that she would use this method to earn money. It was too narrow-minded. How could the host be so bored as to make such a big fuss just to earn money? Yin Wei's fingertips were a little cold. He shrunk his hands into his sleeves. There are divine guards in every city. I will pass down the order. They will listen to you. He didn't ask her what she was going to do. He just gave her all his power. You're not going to keep me? What happened to true love? Bad review. You'll come back. He knew that she would. Then, Shi Shang moved closer to Yin Wei. Are you sure you don't want to give me a kiss before I leave? We may not see each other for a long time. Shi Shang's claws had already touched Yin Wei's arm. Through the material of her clothes, Shi Shang could feel the coldness emanating from his body bit by bit. Shi Shang frowned slightly. You. The next moment, her lips were covered by someone, blocking her words. Yin Wei's kiss wasn't jerky. It carried a faint fragrance that swept Shi Shang's senses. After the kiss ended, she let go of Shi Shang and took a step back. The coldness on her fingertips grew. I have to go. Wait a minute. Yin Wei looked at Shi Shang helplessly. Her gaze was very serious. Is it because I didn't kiss well enough? Have you kissed anyone before? Feng Xi's kissing skills in the past were simply unbearable. How did he learn it without a teacher this time? Yin Wei immediately shook her head. Only you. He had dreamed of her countless times. The only difference was that he couldn't see the person's face in his dreams clearly. He only remembered the feeling she gave him. So when he saw her for the first time, he knew it was her. Shi Shang took out a piece of jade from his space. It can suppress your bodies. He paused. Seal. Yin Wei stared blankly at the jade in Shi Shang's hand. It was completely black, but it emitted a gentle force. Even from a distance, he could feel that his body was much better than before. You? When did you know? Shi Shang placed the jade in her hand. I entered the state preceptor's residence before. You just didn't know. After he left last time, she went to the state preceptor's residence to take a look. Previously, she thought that his body was the price he paid for using the power of space. But when she saw the thing in the state preceptor's residence, she knew that she was wrong. It was the seal. With his body as the seal, he couldn't leave the state preceptor's residence for too long. Otherwise, the thing in the residence would break the seal. And the 2 kirans he gave her were the things that kept him alive. If the kirans were destroyed, he would die. At that time he said those words. I've already given myself to you. Shi Shang reached out and wrapped her arms around his waist, pressing against his chest. Wait for me to come back. Yin Wei allowed her to hug him. You're going for me? Yin Wei suddenly grabbed Shi Shang's arm, as if she had figured something out. I won't allow you to go. I have to go, but it's not just for you. I have my own purpose. Shi Shang's expression was indifferent. It's not as simple as you think. Yin Wei shook his head. Don't go. As long as I don't leave the state preceptor's residence, I'll be fine. Yin Wei's body was getting colder and colder. His time was almost up. Seeing that Shi Shang didn't speak, Yin Wei gritted his teeth and hugged her. Both of them disappeared at the same time. When they appeared again, they were already in the state preceptor's residence. The room wasn't very dark, but it was pitch black outside. Yin Wei's face was pale as she let go of Shi Shang. I'm sorry, I can't let you go. Shi Shang looked around the room curiously. The state preceptor's residence can't stop me. If I want to go, I can definitely go. Yin Wei held on to the table beside him. His breathing was a little unstable. Shi Shang retracted his gaze and went forward to support him. Are you feeling very uncomfortable? Yin Wei shook his head. I'm fine. Shi Shang asked him to sit down and poured him a glass of water. Is there something wrong with you? If those things are willing to harm the outside world, then let them. Why did you seal them? You even made yourself look like this. How did he look like a villain? Alright, actually, Yin Wei was quite impressive outside. I'm not as good as you think. Yin Wei looked at the rippling water and his voice was a little low. I think so too. Shi Shang sat beside him. So what was your original purpose? To use them? Or to subdue them for your own use? Demons were a necessity in a fantasy world. If they were used well, it wouldn't be a problem to dominate the continent. But if they weren't used well and took the opportunity to bite back, then they would also suffer. Just look at this idiot in front of her. You said that I understand you. Don't you understand me too? Because we're a match made in heaven. Chapter 786. Yin Wei looked at the girl opposite her. He didn't want to bring her here, but in the end, he still brought her in. Sir, are you back? A voice suddenly sounded outside the door. Then, the door was pushed open. The young man came in from outside. When he saw Shi Shang, he was slightly stunned. Then, he bowed slightly. Third Miss Feng. Didn't Sir say not to let third Miss Feng in? Why was the Feng family's third young miss here? Prepare a clean room. Yin Wei ordered the young man. Activate all the arrays. Also, keep an eye on her. Don't let her out of the state preceptor's residence. Shi Shang glared. You really won't let me out? No. But I feel terrible. Yin Wei's face turned even paler. I feel terrible. Shi Shang, the young man. Sir, where's your integrity? The young man felt that he should leave quickly. He ran out quickly and closed the door. Yin Wei reached out and grabbed his hand. I will feel terrible if I can't see you. Can you not go? Shi Shang was silent for a moment. It's okay if you don't go. Sleep for me. Yin Wei frowned. Can I not sleep? Then I'll go. Shi Shang got up and was about to leave. Yin Wei tightened her grip. Okay. When Shi Shang woke up the next day, he found that Yin Wei was gone. He got out of bed and got dressed, preparing to go out and look for her. When he reached the door and pulled it open, he was completely dumbfounded. He couldn't open it at all. Shi Shang had a bad feeling. He tried again. Indeed, he couldn't open it. This idiot was amazing. Did he think that a lousy room could lock her up? Where was I's sword? Sword? Shi Shang was silent. He turned around and looked for a window. However, there were no windows in this room. Knock, knock, knock. Shi Shang knocked on the door. Yin Wei, get out here right now. The space distorted slightly. Yin Wei's figure appeared in front of Shi Shang. He was only wearing a single shirt. His hair was still wet. Shi Shang grabbed Yin Wei's collar and said fiercely, Are you trying to lock me up here? This idiot was going to heaven. Yin Wei lowered her head and reached out to hold her hand. The corners of her lips curled up. Don't you want to be with me? I'll satisfy you now. Fuck. Who the hell wants you to be so satisfied? A dark light flashed in Yin Wei's eyes, and he pulled her towards him. His broad and warm hand held her waist, and his flirtatious breath blew on her face. Or are you saying that you regret it? Regret my ass. Shi Shang pushed him away angrily. Open the door. You're so powerful that you want to ascend to the heavens. Yin Wei turned around and snorted softly. No. Want to get out? No way. Yin Wei. Shi Shang chased after her. Do you believe that I'll kill you? Yin Wei sat on the edge of the bed and pulled open his shirt, revealing his firm chest. He lowered his head slightly. I feel very good to be able to die with you. He took off his clothes and presented himself naked in front of Shi Shang. He picked up the dry clothes on the bed and began to put them on. Shi Shang gritted his teeth and grabbed the clothes in his hands. What are you wearing? Don't wear them if you dare. Yin Wei. He raised his head. I don't have to wear them when I'm with you, but... He looked outside, and there was a knock on the door at the right time. Shi Shang threw the clothes at him. This idiot wasn't shy at all. However, what Shi Shang didn't know was that Yin Wei's heart couldn't calm down at all. He took a few deep breaths and slowly put on his clothes. Don't even think about going out. If you dare to go out, I'll come and find you. You're threatening me. Shi Shang glared at her. Yin Wei reached out and touched her face. I just don't want you to put yourself in danger for me. You're very important to me. Even if I use my life to exchange for you, I won't hesitate. So, I can't let you go. Shi Shang. Flirting my ass. I'm not going. Let me out. Shi Shang surrendered. Yin Wei chuckled and disappeared in front of Shi Shang. Shi Shang. You're so smart, idiot. Shi Shang kicked the table beside him, and it fell to the ground with a dull thud. She looked at the fallen table for a while, then took out a sword from her space and walked towards the door. She raised her hand and slashed at the door. The blade of the sword actually only left a shallow mark on the door. Shi Shang. What material was this sword made of? Although the swords in her hands weren't all legendary weapons, they were all famous. But now, they couldn't even slash open a door? Where was Ai's sword? Shi Shang tried again. This time, he used his spiritual power and slashed the door with all his might. The door broke into pieces, and a strong wind with a fishy smell blew in from outside. The bright room instantly fell into darkness. It was so dark that she couldn't even see her own fingers. Shi Shang could only feel the cold wind blowing by the door. It seemed like something was flying around her. Shi Shang swung his hand, and the long sword pierced in a direction. The thing there retreated quickly, and the darkness receded like the tide. A black aura surged at the door, as if it was extremely angry. It kept moving up and down. A sharp voice came from the black aura. Why don't you have an inner demon? Inner demon? Low level. Shi Shang snorted in disdain. You haven't even reached adulthood, and you dare to cause trouble in front of I? You're the low level. The black aura screamed. You're not low level? Show me your human form. The black aura jumped up and down at the door, screaming. If it wasn't for Yin Wei, how could I not have a human form? It's all his fault. I'm going to kill him. Since he cares so much about you, I'll kill you first. I'll kill you. I'll kill you. The black aura's voice echoed in the room. Shi Shang's face turned cold, and he threw the sword in his hand at the black aura. The black aura was furious. It went up to the sword, but the sword made a turn. Shi Shang looked at the black aura, amused. To kill 1,000 enemies, you lose 800 of your own men. You have guts. The black aura was fuming. Why was this woman so difficult to deal with? Its relationship with Yin Wei was a little complicated, but if it was injured, Yin Wei would definitely be injured too. It wanted to use her to injure Yin Wei, and maybe it would have a chance to run out. Just as the black aura was about to continue its attack, Yin Wei's figure suddenly appeared. She reached out and pulled Shi Shang into her arms. They were so close that Shi Shang could hear her violent heartbeat. After confirming that Shi Shang was fine, his heartbeat slowly calmed down. He turned his head and looked at the black aura that was still lingering at the door. He suddenly raised his hand, and the black aura seemed to be strangled by someone. Yin Wei's eyes flashed fiercely. If you dare to touch her again, I'll make you wish you were dead. Get lost. Yin Wei swung her hand, and the black aura seemed to be flung away by someone, blending into the darkness outside. An exasperated scream came from the darkness. Yin Wei, I won't let you go. Chapter 787. Yin Wei reached out and hugged Shi Shang tightly. It was as if she wanted to melt him into her bones and blood. The holy guards outside retreated, not daring to disturb them. Don't do this again. Yin Wei's voice was a little dry. Shi Shang could feel the trembling from his body. It was as if he was extremely scared and was trembling slightly. I'm not as weak as you think. Shi Sheng sighed. If it weren't for his body, she would have killed that thing outside. Others might not be able to deal with it, but she had ways. I know. He knew that she was very powerful. But her power had nothing to do with whether he was worried or not. I don't want you to get hurt. Yin Wei kissed Shi Shang's forehead and moved downwards. When Shi Shang slept on the bed in another room, she finally realized that she had been tricked again. What happened to going out? This idiot had learned how to seduce him. No. Shi Shang pushed Yin Wei away and was about to go down when Yin Wei pulled him back and pinned him down with her long legs. He buried his face in her neck and his voice was a little hoarse. Where do you want to go? I want to kill someone to calm down. Let go of me first. You want to leave me? No. You are. I'm not. Yin Wei didn't say anything. Shi Shang waited for a while, but he didn't hear anything. He was about to get up again when he felt a pain in his shoulder. His teeth bit the flesh on her shoulder. It hurt a little. Shi Shang even smelled blood. King bit her again. Was he born in the year of the dog? This idiot. He was furious. Yin Wei licked the place where he bit her with the tip of her tongue. Shi Shang's body trembled slightly. Don't think about leaving. I won't allow it. Shi Shang. For the next period of time, whenever Shi Shang showed signs of wanting to leave, Yin Wei would immediately use her body to do unspeakable things. If she really couldn't do it, she would King force. After being beaten up by Shi Shang, he pretended to be sick. To be honest, this was the first time Shi Shang felt that his wife was difficult to deal with. Be reasonable. Shi Shang looked at the person who was pretending to be sick on the bed. I's going to do something serious. I'm here for serious business. Yin Wei's face was serious. Shi Shang's chest heaved up and down a few times. He paced back and forth beside the bed with his hands on his waist. He gritted his teeth and said, You're here for business, right? Fine. I will get down to business today. Shi Shang got on the bed and pulled Yin Wei's clothes while saying, If I don't sleep with you until you can't get out of bed, I'll change my surname to yours. Shi Shang said that he would make Yin Wei unable to get out of bed, so he would definitely do it. Both of them had spiritual power and were completely suitable for dual cultivation. However, the Shi Shang did not allow Yin Wei to use her spiritual power. Without spiritual power, a person's physical strength and energy were limited. Yin Wei could not hold on any longer. The Shi Shang was concerned about his health after all, so he didn't torture him too much. While Yin Wei was resting, Shi Shang sneaked out of the room. The state preceptor's residence was huge and dark. Only the corridor was lit up. Only the specially trained divine guards could enter the residence. If ordinary people entered, they would be trapped by their inner demons. Therefore, there were not many people in the residence. Shi Shang walked along the corridor and soon found that the cloud of black gas from before was floating above a pond. What are you doing here? The moment Shi Shang got close, a shrill voice rang out. If you want to lure others over, just scream. Shi Shang stood beside the pond and calmly looked at the ball of black gas that was jumping up and down. The black gas flew left and right and suddenly approached Shi Shang. What are you? Why didn't she have an inner demon? Even Yin Wei had one. Why didn't she? You're the damn thing. Shi Shang glared at her. The black gas twisted in her eyes and formed all kinds of shapes. You won't have a good ending if you stay with him. If you leave him, I won't kill you. Is that so? Shi Shang's lips slowly curled up. The light from the corridor far away reflected her figure. Wisps of black gas flew around her, but none dared to approach her. If you stay with him, I'll kill you. The black gas threatened. Come on. Why would she be afraid of a guy who didn't even have a physical body? The black gas was probably angry. Coupled with the previous incident, it floated up and down in front of Shi Shang and suddenly rushed towards her. It wanted to kill this woman. It wanted Yin Wei to regret it for the rest of his life. Ha ha ha. Shi Shang leaned to the side and avoided the attack of the black gas. The black gas was a ball of gas and couldn't be caught. However, spirit chi was also a gas. Shi Shang and the black gas tangled at the edge of the pond. The spirit chi slowly forced the black gas to a corner. When the black gas realized it, it was too late. The spirit chi turned into a long rope and tied it up tightly. "Who are you?" Shi Shang rolled her eyes at the black gas. "I'm your ancestor." She raised her hand and there seemed to be a flash of light in her hand. The black gas instinctively sensed danger. In the next second, it felt that something was sucking it. It couldn't control itself and went in that direction. The black gas was completely absorbed. The surrounding darkness weakened a lot. It was foggy, and the buildings could be vaguely seen. "What is this place? Let me out! Let me out!" The black gas was trapped in a narrow space. No matter how it struggled, there was no response. Shi Shang looked at the black jade in her hand. "Stay here. The more you use your power, the weaker you will be. What do you want to do?" The black gas seemed to calm down. "Submit to him." "Impossible." The black gas continued to scream. "If it submitted to that man, it would disappear." "Stop dreaming. Even if I disappear, I will take him with me. I won't let him go." "Then you can stay inside." Shi Shang harumphed coldly. Shi Shang sneaked back to the room. Yin Wei was still asleep. She climbed into his arms and put the black jade back on him. Yin Wei woke up from his dream. His eyes opened abruptly. He saw the person lying beside him. He was slightly relieved. She didn't leave. "Master." Something happened. A voice suddenly sounded in Yin Wei's ears. He looked at Shi Shang and gently put her down. Then, he got off the bed. When he stood on the ground, he almost lost his balance. He circulated the spiritual power in his body a few times before he recovered. He opened the door and went out. The young man and a few people from the divine guards were waiting outside. They all looked nervous. When they saw him come out, they seemed to be relieved. Yin Wei raised her eyes and looked over. The Imperial Preceptor's residence that used to be pitch black was now shrouded in a layer of fog. It was no longer pitch black. It was like the morning when the sky had just brightened. The thin fog shrouded the building, making it indistinct. "It's gone." The young man lowered his head. "Master, is your body?" Yin Wei frowned. "My body is fine." The young man looked at Yin Wei up and down. His face was normal. It seemed that he was really fine. But that thing had disappeared. "Master." Then what was going on? Why did it suddenly disappear? Chapter 788. Yin Wei re-entered the room. Shi Shang was lying on the bed and looking at him. He paused and slowly walked to the bed. "Where is it?" It wouldn't have disappeared for no reason. The only thing he could think of was her. Last night. Yin Wei suppressed the feelings in his heart and tried not to think about those indecent things. Shi Shang blinked. "Guess." Yin Wei pulled him out of the blanket. "Are you okay?" Shi Shang climbed into his arms. "You're alive and kicking." "Very good." "Where is it?" Yin Wei asked again after making sure that Shi Shang was okay. Shi Shang pursed his lips and took out the black jade from his clothes. "Here, take it with you. You can leave the State Preceptor's residence now." Shi Shang hugged Yin Wei's arm. "Can you let me go now? I'll take you with me." The black jade was no longer warm in his hand. It was a little cold, but not cold. "Why did you? Is it important?" Shi Shang roughly stuffed the black jade back into his clothes. "You have to come with me now." You have no right to refuse." Shi Shang jumped off the bed. "I've tolerated you for a long time. You have to leave today, even if you don't want to." Yin Wei was helpless. "I have to make some arrangements." As the State Preceptor, he had important things to do. He couldn't stay in the State Preceptor's residence all day. He reached out and touched the black jade. He wasn't sure if he could leave the state preceptor's residence for a long time, but he trusted her. She wouldn't harm him. Shi Shang pursed his lips and let Yin Wei make the arrangements. He didn't want to take the divine guards with him. The divine guards were very worried. If something happened, who would be responsible? But Yin Wei insisted. The divine guards had no choice. Shi Shang had to go back to the Feng family and inform the Feng family master. Fortunately, Yin Wei had sent a message to the Feng family when she kidnapped her. Otherwise, the whole city would be looking for her. When Shi Shang went back, he happened to see a few people bringing Feng Yu out of the Feng family master's room. Feng Yu became agitated when he saw Shi Shang. B***tch. You B***tch. It was you who framed seventh young mistress. It was you. The aura around Yin Wei suddenly changed. The surrounding air surged and stagnated. Feng Yu's face instantly flushed red, as if he had difficulty breathing and was flailing his hands in the air. Lord State Preceptor, please be merciful. The Feng family head stepped forward. Yin Wei didn't want to stop. Shi Shang tugged at him, and Feng Yu was instantly able to gasp for breath. Just now he still had the strength to clamor, but now his entire body went limp and he could only be supported by someone. Take him away, the Feng family head quickly ordered. The rumor that Shi Shang had a divine weapon was spread by Feng Yu. He heard it from the people saved by Shi Shang. Because he was dissatisfied with Feng Qing, he spread the news. Shi Shang just came to say goodbye to the Feng family head, and he finished quickly. Although the Feng family head was worried about him, he couldn't stop him at all, not to mention that the state preceptor was on the side. Shi Shang had left the iron sword here. Now, the splendid brothel was still in full swing. Many people from the continent were attracted to this place. Devil Flame Mountain Range. It had been a long time since the last time the Xian beasts ran, but the traces of that time could still be seen. Yin Wei thought that she came for her, but she found that she really thought too much. She came for the Xian beasts. She blew up the leaders of the Devil Flame Mountain Range, cleaned them up, and sat down to talk. Then they reached an agreement. They led the army to help her take over the continent, and she helped the Devil Flame Mountain Range set up a formation that humans couldn't enter. The Xian beasts hated humans, but humans always wanted to hunt them. How could they not be moved by Shi Shang's conditions? If humans couldn't enter the Devil Flame Mountain Range, they wouldn't have to be afraid of being hunted by humans. But they were also worried. Even if Shi Shang couldn't do it, they still had worries. Shi Shang very generously helped them set up the formation. The Devil Flame Mountain Range was too big, so they needed the help of the Xian beasts. Shi Shang told them how to place the Jingshi, but Shi Shang had to draw the formation himself. If the Xian beasts knew how to draw the formation, she wouldn't have to come. The formation surrounded the entire Devil Flame Mountain Range, and Shi Shang and Yin Wei spent almost half a year inside. I've done what I promised you. After the deal is done, I'll help you start the next layer of the formation. Shi Shang looked at the humanoid beasts in front of him. One of the men with leopard print ears said, "The shortest is 3 months, the longest is half a year." How big were the Xian beasts in the Devil Flame Mountain Range? Not even 1/10 of the Xian beasts that went out last time. They hid in the Devil Flame Mountain Range and were bullied and hunted by humans. The biggest reason was that they didn't want to bow down to other races, so they were always at a disadvantage. But this time, Shi Shang's conditions and the way she taught them a lesson made the leaders bow down first. Even if the other Xian beasts didn't agree, they could only listen to orders. The reason why they needed so much time was because the continent's map was very large. I'll wait for the good news. Shi Shang held Yin Wei's hand and left the Devil Flame Mountain Range. After she left, the humanoid beasts heaved a sigh of relief. This little girl is very powerful. What if she goes back on her words? No, if she wanted to rule the Devil Flame Mountain Range, she could have forced us to contract with her. If she had contracted them, she could have commanded all the Xian beasts in the Devil Flame Mountain Range. That makes sense. Go back and prepare. The time is set to be 5 days later. We'll set off at the same time. Ha ha ha, this time we can vent our anger. In the past, humans chased us and beat us up. This time, we'll call it the War of Revenge. Returning to the human world again, Shang felt like a lifetime had passed. After staying in the Devil Flame Mountain range for so long, she was a little unused to it. She leaned against Wei, and Wei habitually pulled her into her arms, not letting anyone touch her. We can finally sleep on a bed today. Shang sighed. In the Devil Flame Mountain range, they could only sleep in caves, and sometimes they couldn't even sleep in caves. Yes, we can sleep. Wei nodded seriously. Shang looked at him strangely. Why do I find that you've become more and more naughty recently? Wei lowered his eyes slightly, allowing Shang to see the gentleness and adoration in his eyes. I'm only naughty with you. Shang. Teasing eye again. Let's fight in bed tonight. The Shen Beast army attacked the three empires at the same time. With the Devil Flame Mountain range as the starting point, they spread across the map. The entire continent fell into chaos. No one knew why the Shen Beasts suddenly attacked and occupied the cities. They only attacked and occupied, and didn't kill indiscriminately. Of course, if they resisted too much, they would definitely be killed. Shang and Wei were faster than the Shen Beasts. Usually, when they walked in front, the Shen Beasts would attack to the back. Therefore, when they arrived at the main city of the Blue Sky Empire, it was more like Shang and Wei led the Shen Beast army to attack. The people guarding the city were dumbfounded. There was someone commanding the Shen Beast army? No one had ever said this before. Among the Shen Beast army before, there were no other humans except for humanoid beasts. The strangest thing was, if they didn't see wrongly, the most conspicuous man should be their state preceptor, right? Oh my God, the state preceptor rebelled. Chapter 789. Because of the Iron Sword, many strong people on the continent were attracted here, so this was the final main battlefield. When the Divine Guards received the news, they ignored the people in the city and quickly led their people out of the city. They stood respectfully behind Wei. Her white clothes were very eye-catching among the group of Shen Beasts. The city wall was overcrowded at this time, and they were discussing below. They were fighting for the divine weapon here, but the owner of the divine weapon had already swept across the continent with Shen Beasts and was about to unify the continent. So what was the use of fighting for such a divine weapon? Why was the plot developing so strangely? The host didn't follow the script. The female lead hadn't been tortured yet. She hadn't taken revenge yet. Why did you conquer the continent first? You should have conquered the continent last. Furthermore, this method of subjugation was something that it had never expected. The host's style was getting weirder and weirder. She would destroy the script without saying anything. Just as everyone was discussing fervently, a group of people climbed up the city wall, and the others immediately made way for them. The leader was wearing a bright yellow dragon robe. He should be the Emperor of the Blue Emperor. The Feng family head followed beside the Emperor and looked directly at Shang below. The Feng family head was on the verge of collapse. His little Lin actually brought the Shen Beast army back. The Emperor scolded with a sullen face. State Preceptor, what do you mean by this? It's what the Emperor saw. Wei's voice wasn't loud, but everyone on the city wall heard it. The State Preceptor really rebelled. The Emperor had been guarding against the State Preceptor's rebellion, but he didn't expect him to bring the Shen Beast army back to rebel. How was he supposed to guard against this? That was the Shen Beast army. It wasn't one or two, nor was it a group. It was King army. From the city wall, the black mass of Shen Beasts couldn't be seen at all. They directly crushed the humans in terms of numbers. How were they supposed to fight? The Emperor was so angry that he was about to have a heart attack. Why didn't anyone say that the Shen Beast army was led by the State Preceptor? What were the spies doing? It wasn't that no one saw it, but in front, Shang and Wei didn't walk with the Shen Beasts at all. They only met up here. Great Master Qing Feng. Suddenly, a series of voices sounded from behind the Emperor. A fair-skinned young man walked up calmly. There was also a man beside him. He was wearing a mask and exuded a cold and unapproachable aura. Most of the people present knew him. Helion knew. They were both monarchs, but he was not in charge of Scarlet Flame's side. Instead, he was here accompanying such a young master. Emperor, Feng clan head, Great Master Qingfeng. The monarch's expression softened a little. This young master was very popular recently. Not only was his strength shocking, but he was also a good alchemist. Many great clans were scrambling to rope him in, and the imperial family was naturally no exception. But before the results were out, the Xian beasts had started to attack and occupy human cities. This great master Qingfeng was the cross-dressing Feng Qing. Feng Qing looked at Shi Shang standing below, and a strong hatred appeared in her eyes. Ha! Everyone is here. Shi Shang smiled with squinted eyes. Since the male and female leads were both here, it was a good time to break up the couple. Host, how do you dismantle it? Tear him apart? Feng Qing didn't know what she said to the monarch, but the monarch nodded in agreement. The people on the city wall immediately moved. The Feng clan head was a little anxious and kept talking to the monarch. At first, the monarch was a little shaken, but after Feng Qing said something, the monarch immediately became firm. Shi Shang licked the corner of his mouth and his fingers moved slightly. The iron sword, which had been standing in the splendid building, suddenly soared into the sky and soared into the clouds. The people still in Splendid Brothel were all stunned. The iron sword cut through the sky and fell with great momentum. A tyrannical air current swept across the city wall. The people on the city wall all retreated a few steps. They naturally recognized the iron sword. This sword had stood in Splendid Brothel for so long, but no one had taken it. It wasn't that no one had won, but that no one could pick it up. No matter how hard they tried, they couldn't move it at all. Everyone steadied themselves and looked at the iron sword that was floating in the air below with different expressions. She left the iron sword here. Everyone thought that she was afraid that she couldn't protect the divine weapon. Who knew that she wasn't afraid at all? Even if she left it there for you to take, you wouldn't be able to. Shi Shang took the iron sword and waved it in the air. The cat fight was about to begin. You don't need to do anything. Yin Wei suddenly stepped forward and pressed down on Shi Shang's hand. Don't dirty your hand. He gestured to the divine guards behind him, and the divine guards immediately disappeared. Immediately after, chaos broke out on the city wall. White figures flashed through the crowd like ghosts. They acted too quickly. The people on the city wall didn't even have time to react before many people fell to the ground. Yin Wei pressed down on Shi Shang, not allowing him to go up. Shi Shang was helpless. He just wanted to go up and chop the female lead and break the couple. Be good. Yin Wei firmly held Shi Shang in her arms. With a pat on the head, she instantly smoothed out Shi Shang's hair that was standing on end. The Xian beast army also began to charge the city. Feng Qing hadn't finished preparing the things she needed to prepare. With the interference of the divine guards and the Xian beasts, it was too late. Everyone began to retreat. As long as the normal people on the street didn't attack the Xian beasts were very organized and wouldn't take the initiative to provoke humans. They calmly swept through the streets and forced those people into the imperial palace. The imperial palace was a mess. All the strong cultivators were gathered together to protect the imperial family members. Empress rushed to the main hall with her people and quickly walked to Di Jun's side. Her wrinkled face was full of worry. Di Jun, are you all right? I'm fine. Di Jun discreetly pulled away from Empress. Why didn't you stay in the palace? Why did you run here? This concubine is worried about Di Jun. Empress didn't seem to notice Di Jun's dislike for her. This concubine heard that the imperial tutor led people to rebel? It's good that they're people. Di Jun snorted. The imperial tutor's divine guards were already hard to deal with. These people had almost infiltrated the entire Zhonglan Empire. Now they weren't just facing the divine guards, there was also an endless Xian beast army. Empress' eyes turned. This concubine heard that the imperial tutor and the Feng family's third young miss have a close relationship. This time, the Feng family's third young miss and the imperial tutor are rebelling together. The Feng family. Di Jun suddenly looked at Emperor Empress. What time is it now? Put away your little thoughts. Emperor Empress' expression froze for a moment after being yelled at by Di Jun. After a while, she bowed. Although this concubine's words don't sound good, Di Jun, do we have any other choice now? They've already fought outside the palace. Scram. Di Jun's face was full of impatience. Emperor Empress was also furious. She shouted at Di Jun, "You still have misgivings even now. Do you want the entire imperial family to be buried with you? Her daughter is human, but my daughter isn't?" Chapter 790. Celestial Empress words seemed to have agitated the Celestial Emperor. His gaze suddenly turned cold, and the surrounding temperature seemed to drop as well. Celestial Empress retreated with an ugly expression. Her lips moved and her eyes were filled with resentment. This concubine will take her leave. When the Empress went out, the Feng family head brought a group of people in from the outside. The Empress was probably angry because she glared at the Feng family head. The Feng family head was baffled, but he didn't have time to think about it and quickly entered the main hall. "Monarch." The Emperor restrained his emotions and said in a deep voice, "How is it?" The Shen Beast army stopped outside the Imperial Palace. I didn't see the Imperial Advisor or the Divine Guards. The Feng family patriarch paused. He wanted to say something, but in the end, he swallowed his words. Feng Qing and Helian Yu were also in the crowd. The monarch looked at Helian Yu and asked, "Monarch Helian, do you have any solution?" Now that everyone had been forced to this point, they couldn't care less about the grudges between the empires. Everyone's attention was focused on Helian Yu. The Shen Beast army has already taken over 90% of the cities on the continent. The only way now is... Helian Yu paused. Under everyone's expectant gazes, he spat out 2 words, "I admit defeat." When the Shen Beast army attacked the continent, he just happened to be with Feng Qing. When he wanted to go back, it was already too late. The Shen Beast army continued to sweep through. With such a large army, no matter how powerful one person was, it was impossible to stop them. What? Admit defeat? When Helian Yu said this, everyone cried out in surprise. How can you admit defeat? Emperor Helian, everyone says that you're brave and invincible, and that you're the person most likely to unify the continent. Why are you admitting defeat now? We haven't reached the end of the road yet. Isn't Emperor Helian's words too early? I also agree with Monarch Helian. Feng Qing cut in. The current situation is very unfavorable for us. Only by admitting defeat can we preserve our strength. The clan's experts haven't even made a move yet. How can you be so sure that we will lose? I won't admit defeat. I won't admit defeat either. The hall was in an uproar. The emperor had a headache and berated, "Go and invite the old ancestor and the other elders." Only then did everyone quiet down. Every great clan had 1 or 2 old ancestors who had lived for an especially long time and whose power and influence far surpassed that of others. They would only come out of seclusion to help their families when they were in danger. The current situation had clearly reached a critical juncture. However, as soon as the person who was about to go out to invite them out, he was kicked back in. With a bang, he was smashed against a pillar in the main hall. The white figures silently entered from the outside, and the people inside the hall immediately retreated. Everyone stared at the door. Light and shadow flickered, and a corner of clothes appeared at the corner. In the next second, a familiar figure appeared in everyone's vision. Yin Wei stood outside the door and did not enter. His gaze seemed to penetrate the crowd, causing them to not dare to meet his gaze. There seemed to be a pressure in the air that forced them to lower their heads. The only ones who could still look at Yin Wei were Feng Qing, Helian Yu, and Di Jun, Grand Tutor. The emperor's expression was ugly as he gritted his teeth and called out. This man was the same back then. He appeared out of nowhere, but he made people have the urge to submit to him. "Yin Wei, you let the Shen beast army sweep across the continent. How many innocent people have died? Even if you ascend to the throne, you will go down in history in infamy," Feng Qing scolded coldly. "What a joke. Which emperor who rules the world doesn't have rivers of blood and millions of floating corpses?" A clear voice came from behind Yin Wei. Shi Shang walked out from the shadows and added with a smile, "Also, the one who let the Shen beast army sweep across the continent is me." Feng Jiyin. Feng Qing's gaze changed abruptly. Anger, hatred, all kinds of emotions intertwined. Why was it that every time she thought she was living a slightly better life, she had to jump out and ruin everything for her? Was this fate? Could it really not be changed? No. She didn't believe it. Since the heavens gave her a chance to live another life, she could definitely change it. "Hey! Why did you call this treasure?" "Everyone, all right, let's not talk nonsense." Shi Shang waved his hand. "Let's do it." Stalling for time would not work with Shi Shang. Fighting for time with Mr. Plotline was a very tiring job. Xiao Yin. Feng family head stood next to Di Jun and looked at her with a complicated expression. When she left, he thought that it was good for her to leave so that she wouldn't be targeted. Who knew that when she came back, she would be in such a state? Shi Shang glanced at him but didn't say anything. Only the divine guards moved. All kinds of mystic qi flashed in the hall. The divine guards didn't attack Feng family head. Perhaps someone saw something fishy, so when Feng family head wasn't paying attention, they snuck up behind him and held him hostage. "Stop. Everyone stop." That person shouted at the chaotic crowd. The divine guards were ordered not to hurt Feng family head before they came in. Now that Feng family head was being held hostage, they were forced to stop and quickly retreated to the door. "Feng family head, I'm sorry." The person holding Feng family head said fiercely. "Threats are useless against me." Shi Shang looked at that person with a calm expression. It was as if the person being held hostage wasn't her father, but an insignificant passerby. "Humph, if it's useless, why did you tell them to stop?" That person sneered. "Get out of the way and let us out. Don't play any tricks, or I'll kill your father." "Why don't you believe me?" Shi Shang shook his head like an idiot. Before that person could react, he suddenly felt his body stiffen. The air around him seemed to have become stagnant and couldn't circulate. When he came back to his senses, Feng family head was already gone. He looked at the opposite side in disbelief. Feng family head was standing next to Shi Shang. "You? How was this possible?" Feng family head was also dumbfounded. He was just standing there a moment ago. How did he end up standing here in the blink of an eye? "Xiao Yin." Feng family head murmured. Shi Shang turned his head and smiled. "Feng family head is very good. Feng family head, have you been colluding with her for a long time?" Someone reacted and pointed at Feng family head. "Your Feng family has been wanting to rebel for a long time, hasn't it?" Feng family head. There were more and more voices of criticism. In the end, they all guessed that this matter was actually planned by Feng family head. Feng family head was tired. He really didn't want to rebel. He didn't know that his daughter wanted to rebel at all. Moreover, he didn't have the ability to command a great Buddha like the state preceptor. Feng Jin. Di Jun suddenly took 2 steps forward with a solemn expression. "Do you know what you are doing?" Shi Shang looked away from Feng family head and looked at Di Jun up and down. He said faintly, "Rebellion. Otherwise, did I come here to spar with you? Idiot. Xiao Yin, you can't do this." Feng family head looked anxious. Chapter 791. Why can't I do that? Shi Shang asked indifferently. Feng family head looked at Di Jun. Di Jun's expression was complicated. He was silent for a few seconds. "Because you are my daughter." Shi Shang. The host and Di Jun didn't look alike. They didn't look alike at all. Did she create a biological father by rebelling? Feng family head nodded. Xiaoyin, it's true. You can't do that. Di Jun is your biological father. Everyone was dumbfounded. Why was this development so wrong? Just because you say so. Shi Shang looked at Di Jun. Where's the evidence? Damn it, why was it always this kind of melodramatic plot? Next time, I won't do this kind of side mission anymore. Even if I accept it, I won't do it anymore. It must be that idiot system that added this melodramatic setting. Why was it his fault again? He wouldn't take the blame for this. Feng family head is the best evidence. You don't even believe his words? Di Jun sighed helplessly. There was a reason for that. I had no choice but to send you out of the palace. Shi Shang raised his hands. To be honest, except for Yin Wei, I don't believe anyone, not even my father. Not to mention, he was only the host's father, not her biological father. It was normal that she didn't believe him. Feng family head was probably hurt. He raised his daughter for so many years, but she didn't believe him. Yin Wei was very happy, and the corners of her mouth curled up slightly. Di Jun didn't expect Shi Shang to say that. He couldn't find any evidence in a short time. When she was taken out of the palace after she was born, he didn't even have time to take a look at her. Shi Shang didn't want to waste time, so he decided to tie these people up first. If there was anything to say, he could tie them up and talk slowly. She was very nervous and insecure. So the divine guards moved out again. Shi Shang was ready to chop the male and female leads. Yin Wei didn't stop him this time. She just followed behind him. Helian Yu and Feng Qingqing were at the back of the crowd. Shi Shang rushed forward, and the people around them made way for them. Feng Jin. When enemies meet, their eyes turn red. Feng Qingqing practically squeezed out these words through gritted teeth. You're seeking death. I've always been looking for death. Unfortunately, no one can kill me. Even Helian, you couldn't stand this arrogant tone. A blazing flame appeared in Feng Qingqing's hand and went straight for Shi Shang. She wanted to kill her. Revenge for her past life. Shi Shang dodged to the side and hit the flames back with his iron sword. Although the flames were successfully pushed back, Shi Shang felt a rebound force on his arm. The shock made her arm sore and numb. Flip the table. I'm going to be angry. The female lead's halo was practically going to the heavens. She could be taken down by a dog at any time. I'm not going to die. Shi Shang steadied his breathing and once again slashed at Feng Qingqing with his sword. Feng Qingqing had already adjusted herself, and with the support of the female lead halo, Shi Shang couldn't do anything to Feng Qingqing. The two figures continued to meet, separate, and meet again. He actually felt like he had met his match. Meeting his match, my ass. It was clearly the female lead who had cheated. I'm not convinced. System, give me a cheat and let me kill the female lead. You're still in the mood to talk about cheat when fighting? It seems that host doesn't really need any cheat. Host, this system believes that you can tear the female lead apart with your bare hands. Wait. What did it just say? You can't kill the female lead. Helian Yu and Yin Wei were a bit bored. The two of them stood on one side and looked at each other silently without doing anything. But if there was a strong person here, they would know that these two people were competing in mental strength. The air around them was filled with killing intent. One step closer would mean death. If Yin Wei was the previous Yin Wei, she might not be able to win against Helian Yu. But he wasn't the previous Yin Wei. He was the same as Shi Shang, the Feng Ci who had experienced countless worlds. Comparing mental strength with him, Helian Yu could only be defeated. If it wasn't for Helian Yu's male lead halo, he probably wouldn't have been able to hold on. Helian Yu's expression became uglier and uglier. Cold sweat seeped out of his forehead. He didn't expect this man to be so strong. Bang! The sound of the explosion was accompanied by a shock wave that swept through the entire hall. Yin Wei was affected by the shock wave, but she didn't have time to defend herself. Just as she was about to resist, her wrist suddenly heated up. A warm current instantly flowed from her wrist to her limbs. The shock wave was instantly dispersed and flowed around her body. Helion Yu wasn't as lucky as her. His figure was forced to retreat a few steps. Yin Wei took the opportunity to attack. Helion Yu quickly withdrew his mental strength. He quickly retreated to Feng Qingqing's side, who had been flipped over by the shock wave. Holding her, he quickly broke open the window and jumped out. Shi Shang rushed out of the smoke and dust and went straight to the window. But it was empty outside. There was nothing. Fuck. She ran again. Yin Wei rushed to Shi Shang's side in a few steps and pulled her into her arms. She quickly took her out of the hall. Just as he rushed out, the hall collapsed with a boom. Some people who didn't run out in time were buried under the rubble. Shi Shang choked on the dust that suddenly rose. Cough, cough, cough. She grabbed Yin Wei's clothes and coughed uncomfortably. Yin Wei cupped her face and helped her wipe the dust off her face. Don't rush, breathe slowly. Cough, 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 cough. When the dust entered her lungs, that feeling was sweet and refreshing. Shi Shang quickly circulated her spirit energy a few times before she felt better. Yin Wei carried her to the ground. The divine guards had already caught everyone who ran out and tied them up. The enormous imperial palace was so quiet that it was like it was in another dimension. He couldn't hear anything at all. Dongfeng Manor. Dongfeng Hai listened to the reports of his subordinates and looked with melancholy at the gloomy sky outside. From time to time, he could see one or two birds fly by. Eldest young master, should we submit now or submit? How could he submit? That person hesitated. Right now, the entire continent is controlled by them. There were only two paths left. Either resist to the end and die without a complete corpse, or submit and preserve their strength. Dongfeng Hai thoughtfully propped up his chin. After a while, his eyes filled with interest. Really interesting. Eldest young master? What was really interesting? Dongfeng Hai waved his hand and had that person leave. Once he left, Dongfeng Hai's expression became twisted. So angry. This woman never followed the script. No matter what he did, she could always catch him off guard in the next second. He was a gentleman. He couldn't be angry. He had to be calm. Calm my ass. He really wanted to kill her. How could there be a woman who liked to ruin the plot so much? Would it kill her to follow the script? Dongfeng Hai narrowed his eyes. However, the more difficult the person was to deal with, the more interested he was. Dongfeng Hai, no, Mu Bai. That's right, he was Mu Bai. Mu Bai gripped the teacup on the table and his fingers slowly tightened. Shi Shang, let's see who will have the last laugh. Asterisk the last chapter come to ask for votes. Ask for votes. Ask for votes. Don't be careless. Give all of them to me. Love you all. Chapter 792. Shi Shang had people tie everyone up, including the emperor. Not a single one was missing. Of course, it would be perfect if the male and female leads were here as well. What a pity! Those with high status in the palace, such as the empress, the princesses, and the princes, were all brought to the main hall by the divine guards. Everyone else was locked up together. The empress and the princesses were on one side. She glared at the woman sitting above with a twisted expression. With such intense hatred, it was hard for Shi Shang not to notice her. The original host didn't have any grudges with the empress, but her hatred was as if she had killed her father. What kind of melodramatic blood was this? I'm not buying it. Feng Jin, do you really want to kill your father? Although the emperor was in a sorry state, he still had the bearing of a ruler. Shi Shang asked with a serious face, why not? Why not? Of course not. The emperor calmed down. I know you must hate me, but there was a reason for it. Don't you want to hear the reason? Shi Shang shook his head calmly. I'm not listening. I'm not listening. I'm not listening. The emperor. Ha ha ha. The empress suddenly laughed. After laughing, her face twisted. This is the little bitch you wanted to protect. Look at her now. Not only did she overturn your country and usurp your throne, she doesn't even acknowledge you. Ha ha, this is karma. The emperor's expression turned even uglier. It was as if there were flames of anger burning in him. I should have strangled her to death back then. The empress ignored the emperor's ugly expression and continued, I was benevolent, but I didn't expect to leave such a disaster behind. Shut up. The emperor scolded. Probably because she felt that the situation was hopeless, the empress didn't restrain herself. Instead, she spilled the beans about what happened back then. Shi Shang held his chin and ate melon seeds as he listened to the empress's eloquent speech. Her mother was a daughter of a concubine in the Feng family. However, she was raised by the Feng family head's mother, so she had a good relationship with the Feng family head. At that time, the Feng family head and the emperor were as close as brothers. He often came to the Feng family, so he naturally met this concubine's young miss. The emperor was very fond of this young miss, who was a little strange but was educated and reasonable. After he ascended the throne, he immediately took her into the palace. As an emperor, how could he have so much freedom? This young lady was just a concubine's child and could not be conferred the title of empress. Furthermore, the emperor had no choice but to marry someone else as his empress. That person was the current empress. Celestial Empress was also deeply in love with Celestial Emperor, but Celestial Emperor only treated that concubine's daughter well. How could Celestial Empress not be jealous? In her jealousy, the Empress did many things to drive a wedge between the two of them. The effect of sowing discord was quite good. By the time this concubine's daughter became pregnant, the relationship between the two had already dropped to the freezing point, and there were many misunderstandings. At this time, Celestial Empress was also pregnant. The Celestial Emperor made it clear that whoever gave birth first would be the future crown prince, regardless of gender. Celestial Empress was pregnant for 2 months, and Celestial Emperor clearly didn't want her child to inherit the throne. Celestial Empress would definitely be unhappy, so she naturally had to make a move. Therefore, when the concubine's daughter gave birth, she bribed the midwife and took the child out of the palace. Celestial Empress only let the midwife take the child out of the palace, and didn't kill the child. She had someone tell Celestial Emperor that the child was a stillborn. There was a tradition in Songlan Empire. If a stillborn was born, it must be sealed immediately, and no one was allowed to see it. It was said that this was to prevent the child from having resentment. In a place like the palace, most children were killed, and the people in the palace were afraid of this point. The midwife took the child out of the palace, but she was intercepted by the Feng family head who received the news. He secretly got rid of the midwife and took the child back to the Feng family. Celestial Empress didn't know about this and thought that the midwife had already taken care of the child. After a period of time, because the child was gone, the concubine's daughter didn't have good health and passed away not long after. I shouldn't have been soft-hearted back then and let a little slut like you live for so long. Celestial Empress angrily glared at Shi Sheng. If it was the current her, she would have strangled her to death at that time. Unfortunately, there was no medicine for regret in this world. Are you done? Shi Sheng put down the melon seeds. You ordered Feng Qiqi to harm me? Celestial Empress was fearless now. It's me. You deserve to die. She originally planned to let her die in the Devil Flame Ridge, but who knew that she was lucky enough to come back. Later, she prepared something and asked Feng Qiqi to give it to her, but she didn't want it. What happened after that was completely out of Celestial Empress control. The host completed the task too easily. There were no twists and turns. There were no twists and turns. There was no heart-wrenching. Simple and violent. Everything that could be solved with violence was really not a problem for the host. Professional mode. Amateur do not imitate. Little Een, I'm really your biological father. Celestial Emperor's face was full of remorse. That poisonous woman's family was too powerful. I couldn't face her directly, so after knowing that you were still alive, I didn't dare to take you back. I had my reasons. You can't even protect the girl you love? What's the use of saying your reasons now? Can she come back to life? It's better to die together. Shi Shang's eyes were calm. She looked at Yin Wei beside her. In her opinion, love that couldn't be shared through life and death was nonsense. Since he loved her, then they should die together. Host, please don't be so extreme. The system habitually reminded her. The host's thoughts were really dangerous. Shi Shang's thoughts were dangerous, but she was different from other extreme people. She wouldn't be suspicious for no reason. She was calm and rational. She also trusted Feng Ci very much. She would change some of her plans because of Feng Ci, but she would never forget her ultimate goal. Even if she didn't meet Feng Ci in other planes, she wouldn't be anxious. She would just calmly confirm. After confirming that it wasn't him, she would never think of him again. It was as if he was unimportant to her. The system really couldn't understand the host. What kind of monster was she? I also want to go with her, but as the Celestial Emperor, the entire Blue Empire. To put it bluntly, you just can't let go of power and wealth. Shi Shang interrupted the Celestial Emperor. But this is human nature. It's the same for everyone. The Celestial Emperor probably wanted to explain, but before he could say anything, he met Shi Shang's calm eyes. He couldn't say what he wanted to say. Her eyes were too calm. It was so calm that no one could feel the slightest bit of warmth. It was terrifying. The Celestial Emperor looked at the Feng clan head, hoping that the Feng clan head would help him say a few words. The Feng clan head was now in a difficult position. On one side was his good friend of many years and the person he was loyal to. On the other side was his younger sister's daughter whom he had raised for many years. He was now in a difficult position. It didn't seem right to help either of them. He deliberated for a while. Little Yin, no matter what, the Celestial Emperor is still your biological father. If you do this, how will the people of the continent look at you in the future? Patricide had a bad reputation. I don't care. Shi Shang looked indifferent. Reputation couldn't be eaten. So what if her reputation was bad? In front of her fist, these people didn't dare to say a word. Chapter 793. The next day, Shi Shang was obviously not in good spirits and kept yawning. What about this mainland? Yin Wei asked as she helped him put on his clothes. I'll give it to you. Shi Shang raised his arm. Then marry me. Yin Wei glanced at him. With the mainland as my dowry? No. Shi Shang tugged at his collar and lifted Yin Wei's chin like a domineering CEO. With the mainland as your betrothal gift. And then? Shi Shang blinked. What else? Who will be the master of the mainland? Yin Wei moved her chin away and pinched Shi Shang's cheek. She didn't have any of a girl's modesty. Shi Shang rubbed between his eyebrows. Will you? Yin Wei leaned closer to Shi Shang, and his warm breath landed on her ear. I only want to be the master of the mainland for you. He never had any intention of rebelling, nor did he have any intention of unifying the mainland. He developed his power just to find her. To find the person who kept appearing in his dreams and making him think about her day and night. Great, he had conquered the mainland, but no one cared about it. Shi Shang could only let the emperor out and let him continue being the emperor. Since you don't want to be the master of the mainland, why do you have to go through so much trouble? Yin Wei couldn't understand. Shi Shang rolled his eyes. To give it to you. Yin Wei was confused. But I don't want it. He always thought that she was going through so much trouble to conquer the mainland because she wanted to be the king. Shi Shang didn't want to explain that girls in love were all idiots. You're enough for me. Yin Wei continued to hit him. Stop, stop, stop. Don't flirt with me for no reason. Shi Shang interrupted Yin Wei. You have to be responsible for flirting with me. Do you think I'm someone you can flirt with for no reason? Yin Wei held his hand and smiled faintly. I'll be responsible for you for all eternity. Shi Shang. No way. I can't stand the flirting Feng Ci. Shi Shang's face was cold. He stood up and quickly walked out of the room. Yin Wei sat there with a confused expression. What did he say wrong? Shi Shang stuck his head in from outside and said, "Follow me. Do you want me to carry you?" Yin Wei immediately stood up. "Sure, I'll carry you." Shi Shang's face remained cold. "Try flirting with me again." During breakfast, Yin Wei habitually flirted with Shi Shang. Shi Shang gritted his teeth, put down his chopsticks, grabbed Yin Wei's collar, and took a bite. The smell of porridge circulated between the two of them. When Shi Shang was about to retreat, Yin Wei pressed the back of his head and deepened the kiss. In the end, he said flirtatiously, "It seems like I didn't work hard enough last night." "Don't worry, little Ji. I will definitely work harder in the future." "Hard work my ass. No matter how hard you work, you're still an idiot. Calm down. Don't argue with a retard." Shi Shang patted Yin Wei's hand and returned to his seat to continue eating his porridge. Yin Wei looked at her the whole time. "Are you full just by looking at me? Little Ji is a feast for the eyes." Indifference. Indifference in capital letters. Yin Wei felt hurt, and she flirted with Shi Shang even more unscrupulously. This idiot was so pretentious outside that he could be a god, but in front of Shi Shang, God? Damn it, he was a difficult idiot. But she liked him. She couldn't tolerate it. Shi Shang had already experienced how difficult he was to deal with. Therefore, after being flirted with a few times, Shi Shang had already started to beat him up. Every time Shi Shang wanted to beat him up, Yin Wei would put on an especially aggrieved expression. At first, his expression was a little stiff and looked very strange. However, after a few attempts, he realized that Shi Shang had no resistance to this expression. He practiced hard and was now very proficient in using it. As long as Shi Shang was angry, he would immediately pretend to be innocent, and aggrieved. The Xian beasts had already left the mainland and returned to the Demon Flame Ridge. Shi Shang refused to acknowledge the emperor as his father. After marrying Yin Wei, he directly left this place. The last condition of going to the Demon Flame Ridge to complete the deal was that humans would no longer be able to enter or leave the entire Demon Flame Ridge. Of course, this was not permanent. Shi Shang admitted that he was not that powerful yet. As for how long it could last, she didn't know. Anyway, she had already made it clear that both parties had agreed to it. Now, only the female lead and the male lead were left. Shi Shang asked the system to locate the female lead's location. Although the system was unwilling, it had to give the location in the end. The female lead was in a city not far from the Demon Flame Ridge. Yin Wei's divine guards appeared and disappeared mysteriously. As soon as Shi Shang and Yin Wei got on the official road, someone sent a carriage over. "Sir. Madam." The carriage was the same model as the one Shi Shang saw Yin Wei for the first time. A breeze blew, the veil swayed, and the palace bell rang. Shi Shang held a palace bell and asked curiously, "What are you doing with this thing?" "Was it nice?" "It wasn't a girl." "Madam, this is a divine weapon." The divine guards answered on behalf of Yin Wei. "Shi Shang, you hung the divine weapon on the carriage. I'll give you full marks for this." Yin Wei helped Shi Shang into the carriage. Only when she got in did she realize that the space inside was bigger than what she had seen. She could even roll around in it. "You were inside that day, weren't you?" Shi Shang sat beside Yin Wei's feet. He rested his head on his lap and looked up at her. Yin Wei lowered her head. "Yes." "Why didn't you see me?" Yin Wei lifted a strand of Shi Shang's hair with her fingertips and tucked it behind his ear. "I've been away from the state preceptor's residence for a long time. I didn't want to see you like that." "I don't despise you," Shi Shang muttered. Yin Wei's lips curled into a beautiful smile. "But I care." He had used his last bit of strength to appear in front of her in that way. It was already his limit. He could show her his most pathetic side now, but at that time, he couldn't. The first time they met, she was so arrogant and confident. He was afraid that if he appeared in a pathetic state, he wouldn't be worthy of her. The young girl lay on his lap with a quiet and docile expression. Yin Wei's fingertips rubbed her delicate skin. Outside the carriage, the palace bell rang melodiously, as if it was summoning from an ancient ruin. The Red Flame Empire no longer existed. Now, only the Blue Empire was left on the entire continent. Helion Yu himself felt that what had happened recently was like a fantasy story. Everything he had deployed was completely useless under such circumstances. A figure suddenly sat down in front of him. Helion Yu immediately looked at him warily. "Do you want to take back what belongs to you?" The man opposite him had a gentle voice, but there was a hint of temptation in his voice. "I can help you." Helion Yu narrowed his eyes. Dongfeng Hai. Mu Bai's smile was appropriate. At first glance, he looked like an elegant and noble young master. Helion Yu was full of vigilance. "Why do you want to help me?" Mu Bai chuckled. "Because we have a common enemy." Feng Jin. Mu Bai nodded. "It was that little bitch." Helion Yu's eyes turned slightly. "I remember that you're her fiancé. Why? Have you been cuckolded?" Mu Bai. "You're the one who's been cuckolded. Your whole family has been cuckolded. He didn't like that little bitch." Chapter 794. The carriage entered the city. The bustling city woke up Shisheng. She stretched and climbed out of Yin Wei's arms. She lifted the curtain and looked outside. There were many people. Shisheng wasn't in a hurry to find Feng Qing. He wandered around the city with Yin Wei for a while. In the end, he took her to a place that looked like an auction house. The auction house was very big. There were many exhibits in the hall. Shisheng's gaze swept over the exhibits one by one. She turned and hugged Yin Wei's arm. "Darren, will you give me money to spend?" Yin Wei's lips curled. "That depends on what you give me in exchange." Shisheng glared. "Didn't we say that what's yours is mine?" "When did we say that?" Yin Wei was confused. He didn't remember saying that. Shisheng's face was stern. "Now." Yin Wei's lips twitched. "Listen to me and I'll give you money." "Why should I?" Shisheng wasn't convinced. "I was the overbearing president. Why should I listen to my wife?" Wives were meant to be pampered. "Because..." Yin Wei bent down slightly and whispered into her ear, "I'm your husband. Shouldn't you listen to me?" Shisheng pushed Yin Wei away. Yin Wei's expression was hurt. "Wife. Shisheng. This idiot. He only knew how to hit her weak spot. This treasure doesn't care about your money." The most important thing was that she definitely couldn't listen to him. So Yin Wei found that she was in trouble. Shisheng went to talk to the steward. The steward quickly invited them to the second floor. When they came out of the auction house, Yin Wei was dumbfounded. Shisheng looked at him with a smile that wasn't a smile. "Be good and listen to me. I can give you anything you want." "I want you," Yin Wei blurted out. His dark eyes were filled with sincerity. Her figure was reflected in it. It was so clear that he could see the subtle expressions on her face. The lively crowd around them seemed to have been automatically ignored by him. Not a trace of them was reflected in it. She was the only one in his world. Shisheng curled his lips into a smile. His eyes were gentle and rippling like a pool of spring water. "Let's go. I'll take you to a restaurant." Yin Wei. Why did he suddenly jump to the topic of going to a restaurant? Wait, what's a restaurant? Shisheng had come to find Feng Qing. After fooling around with Yin Wei, he naturally had to get down to business. But before she could find Feng Qing, she had a romantic encounter with Feng Qing. Bah! They met on a narrow path. She was still dressed as a man, and when she stood in the crowd, many young girls would throw flirtatious glances at her. Beside Feng Qing was Wan Quan, whom she hadn't seen for a long time. She didn't see Helion Yu. Wan Quan's expression was a little complicated. He still remembered the words he said when he was in the Feng family. At this moment, it was a slap in the face. Feng Jian. Feng Qing exploded when she saw Shi Sheng. Why are you here? Why can't I be here? I'm here to look for you, female leader Darren. Feng Qing squeezed out a few words from between her teeth. Why are you so persistent? No matter where she went, she would run into her. Nothing good happened every time she ran into her. Be reasonable. Does this city belong to you? Why won't you let me come? The road was open and everyone went their own ways. Where I was had nothing to do with her. Feng Qing's gaze swept over to Yin Wei with a bit of fear. What do you want to do this time? I'm not going to do you. Why are you so nervous? Yin Wei pinched Shi Shang's palm. Was this something she could say to an outsider? She could just say it to him at home. Shi Shang pinched back and didn't forget to glare at Yin Wei. Eyes here for business. Why are you pinching me? What's wrong with you? She was flirting in front of Feng Qing. Feng Qing felt like her lungs were about to explode. Feng Jian, I want to duel with you. Shi Shang turned his head. Duel? With just you? He seemed a bit disdainful, but also like he was calmly confirming. With just me? She had to kill her. Her current strength couldn't be said to be the strongest on the continent, but she was definitely the strongest among her age group. She still had so many pills, she didn't believe she couldn't beat her. The female lead broke down as soon as she saw the host. She didn't want to talk. The female lead was fighting with I. Oh my god, so excited. The female lead was the one who started it. This treasure was just defending itself. Go go go. Shi Shang waved his hand excitedly. Feng Qing. Go where? Shi Shang saw that Feng Qing wasn't moving and urged unhappily, Didn't you say you were going to fight? Let's go. What are you waiting for? Get rid of the female lead quickly and go home to sleep with Feng Ci. Feng Qing's mouth twitched. Why are you so excited about a fight? Taking a deep breath, Feng Qing said, set the time for 3 days later. Shi Shang rolled his eyes. Why do you need to set a time for a fight? It's not a blind date. Set it today. 3 days later. Feng Qing insisted. I'm not fighting. So boring. A fight needs an appointment. So what if the female lead is great? Even the country's president isn't so troublesome. Feng Qing. How was she supposed to respond to this? Shi Shang pulled Yin Wei to leave. Feng Qing gritted her teeth and shouted from behind, Today it is. I'm not fighting. Shi Shang waved his hand. I'm going to eat. Pooh. Feng Qing was so angry that she almost suffered internal injuries. You're not fighting just because you said you're not fighting? Shi Shang took Yin Wei to eat. Feng Qing and Wan Quan followed behind. Yin Wei glanced at where they were sitting. What are you looking at? Shi Shang blocked Yin Wei's line of sight. Look at me. Just look at me. Yin Wei laughed. Look at you. The waiter quickly served the food. Shi Shang put Yin Wei's favorite food in front of her. Can you change this picky habit of yours? Yin Wei had an innocent face. Why should I change it? It's like I'm only good to you. Isn't this called being loyal? Loyal. If it's the end of the world, you'll starve to death. This habit was simply poisonous. What end of the world? Yin Wei was even more innocent. It's the end of the world. The mainland will be destroyed, and humans will disappear. Yin Wei suddenly reached out and grabbed Shi Shang's hand. I'll always be with you, even if the mainland is destroyed and humans disappear. Shi Shang. What happened to not flirting with me? After the meal, Feng Qing stopped them when they were about to leave. Feng Jian, can you do it now? Shi Shang laughed arrogantly. Do you want to die so badly? I'm not bragging, but I've killed at least a dozen female leads. If you want to die, I can fulfill your wish. You're bragging? You're bragging to the heavens. Feng Qing didn't quite understand what he meant by female leads, but it didn't stop her from understanding that she was being looked down upon. She gritted her teeth and said angrily, "Now." She wanted to kill Feng Jian to avenge herself. 7th Mississippi. Wan Quan seemed to want to stop Feng Qing, but Feng Qing ignored him. "Feng Jian, do you dare?" "Why not?" Shi Shang was full of confidence. He was going to conquer another female lead. Little fairy. God, please give me the power to heal. Cherub, this idiot didn't take her medicine again? Shi Shang, she took too much medicine. Cherub, little fairy, I want a vote. You're the one who took too much medicine. Shi Shang, draw sword, little fairy. Let's fight hand to hand if you dare. Shi Shang, release Feng Ci. System notification, your little fairy has gone offline, item recovered, 02222. Chapter 795. The location of the fight was an open space outside the city. Shi Shang looked around and suddenly said, "Let's go somewhere else." Feng Qing was speechless. "Can't you fight properly?" Shi Shang wanted to go somewhere else, but Feng Qing didn't agree. Since she didn't agree, Shi Shang stopped fighting and pulled Yin Wei away. In a flash, Feng Qing acted. Yin Wei jumped forward with Shi Shang in her arms. She was dozens of meters away. Feng Qing's attack missed. "Feng Jian, are you going to be a coward? Or are you afraid that you can't beat me?" "I'm so scared," Shi Shang said sarcastically. "You're the female lead. How can you not be scared?" Feng Qing choked. She didn't follow the script at all. How could she reply? Flips table seeing that Shi Shang and Yin Wei were getting farther and farther away, the person in the dock didn't care anymore and started chanting. Black lines instantly appeared on the previously bare ground. One by one, they connected together and converged into a large-scale array formation. Shi Shang and Yin Wei stood at the edge of the formation. They only needed to take one step to leave the formation. However, Shi Shang didn't. He stood there quietly and waited for the formation to take shape. The formation took shape in the blink of an eye. Feng Qing was also trapped in the formation. When she wanted to run out, it was too late. Black fog overflowed from the edge of the formation and formed a barrier. Outside the formation, a few figures walked out from the dark. Dongfeng Hai. She would recognize the people outside even if they turned into ashes. Helian Yu stood behind Mu Bai. His mask concealed his emotions very well, not revealing the slightest bit. Mu Bai still had a faint smile on his face and nodded like a gentleman. "Miss Feng Qi." "Dongfeng Hai, what do you want?" Feng Qing didn't look at Helian Yu. She just glared at Mu Bai with hatred. She could see her child die in her arms with a livid face many times. "Miss Feng Qi, don't misunderstand. I'm not targeting you." Mu Bai's tone was gentle. He looked at Shi Shang on the other side. "Long time no see." "Long time no see, Mu Bai. This idiot is here again." Flips table have all the patches I made been fed to the dogs? Shi Shang's expression was too calm, as if he was not surprised to see him here. Mu Bai didn't dare to relax at all. He didn't want to commit suicide. Suicide was also very painful. Most importantly, such a death was not in line with his identity as a gentleman. Mu Bai calmed himself down. This woman was the best at pretending. Perhaps she was just pretending that she knew everything. "Looks like I've won this time." Mu Bai smiled. Shi Shang grinned but didn't reply. Mu Bai was confused by his grin. "Why do I feel like I'm retarded again?" He thought about it carefully and found no loopholes. Mu Bai didn't waste any more time and reached out his hand to touch the edge of the black gas. Dongfeng Hai. He Lian Yu suddenly called out and pointed at Feng Qing. "She's still inside." Mu Bai turned around and advised gently, "Emperor Helian, if you want to achieve great things, you have to make sacrifices. It's just a woman. Think about it, this entire continent belongs to you. What kind of woman can't you get? Shi Shang. Is this person here to steal my ship? He Lien, you didn't know what conditions he and Mu Bai had reached. After being advised by Mu Bai, he only looked at Feng Qing with pity and didn't stop them. Shi Shang shook his head and suddenly turned to ask Yin Wei, one day, if you had to choose between the world and me, what would you choose? Yin Wei's eyelashes trembled and she said confidently, you would give the world to me. There wouldn't be such a choice. Also, he didn't want the world. Shi Shang. I give full marks to this self-righteous person. Feng Qing didn't know what Mu Bai wanted to do, but she instinctively sensed danger. Dongfeng Hai. Dongfeng Hai, let me out. Feng Qing rushed in front of Mu Bai and wanted to rush out. However, when she came into contact with the lingering black gas, it was like the black gas had encountered delicious food and crazily rushed into Feng Qing's body. Ah! Feng Qing's body suddenly retreated. She held her wrist and her face was full of pain. On her white face, there was a strange black gas flowing under her skin. The smile on Mu Bai's face didn't fade. Wan Quan flew out of nowhere and wanted to attack Mu Bai. Before he could reach Mu Bai raised his hand and Wan Quan was sent flying. He smashed into a rock in the distance and stopped moving. Mu Bai placed his hand on the black gas and looked at Shi Shang from afar. There was a hint of excitement in his eyes. He could finally make a comeback and be the master. The array activated again and more black gas appeared. Just now, it was just the edges. Now, the entire array was filled with black gas. The black gas was very fast and in the blink of an eye, Feng Qing's figure was covered in it. Shi Shang allowed the black gas to spread. What she found strange was, why didn't Mu Bai, this idiot, have any restrictions on attacking the female lead? Why was there a restriction on attacking the female lead? This wasn't fair. She couldn't accept it. Host, you're the main point. This idiot wants to erase you. Was I someone he could erase just because he wanted to? Shi Shang harumphed coldly. Just as the black fog was about to engulf her, she grabbed Yin Wei and retreated, easily retreating out of the formation. The black gas filled the last gap and blocked Mu Bai's line of sight. Mu Bai held his breath as he stared at the black semicircle in front of him. But it was too quiet inside, so quiet that Mu Bai's heart began to panic. According to her personality, she wouldn't be this quiet. Something was wrong. Shua. Just as Mu Bai was on guard, there was the sound of something breaking through the air above his head and sword energy came crashing down. The cold light of the iron sword flashed past Mu Bai's eyes. He didn't even see how Shi Shang appeared and the cold light of the iron sword appeared on his neck. Mu Bai swallowed with difficulty. He had clearly worked hard to cultivate. Why was it still instant kneeling? He couldn't accept it. Calm, gentlemanly, elegant, he was a person of status. Shi Shang came out from behind him. Mu Bai. There was no panic on Mu Bai's face. His emotions were very tense and serious. You want to scheme against I? That's not right. It's just a competition. Mu Bai calmly refuted. Hiding behind someone's back is called a competition? Mu Bai's face was still calm. The boss always appears last. Shi Shang. That made sense. So why did she appear so early? Should she be the cannon fodder? Flips table. Mu Bai saw that Shi Shang was distracted for a moment and suddenly wiped his neck on the iron sword. Shi Shang quickly retreated and didn't let Mu Bai succeed in killing himself. Mu Bai. He wasn't even allowed to kill himself? Mu Bai gritted his teeth and directly crashed into the black gas beside him. Half of his body sank into the black gas. Mu Bai's expression was a little strange. His voice sounded faintly. I will be back. Mu Bai. Why is it instant kneeling again? Little fairy. You killed yourself. How can you blame me? Mu Bai. Chapter 796. Shi Shang was already immune to Mu Bai's suicide. This Mu Bai immediately committed suicide when he couldn't plot against her. He was afraid that she would catch him. Did she look that scary? He didn't understand the thoughts of an idiot. Mu Bai knelt down too quickly. Hellion, you didn't even have time to react. How could someone who was so confident commit suicide in the blink of an eye? Hellion, you prepared to leave with his men. He might have a chance against one person, but other than that woman, there was also Yin Wei. He was no match for the two of them. Hellion, you glanced at the black aura beside him and gestured to the people behind him. They immediately retreated. Shi Shang wanted to chase after them but was stopped by Yin Wei. You can't run. The divine guards were already waiting in front. As soon as Hellion Yu ran out, he was surrounded by the divine guards. When he fought with the divine guards, Hellion Yu was seriously injured, but he still managed to escape. Shi Shang walked around the array left by Mu Bai. Why did this thing look so similar to... Similar to what? Host, do you know who Mu Bai is? The system's voice immediately popped up. I don't know. Who the hell is the system? What's the use of having you? It's all your fault. If it wasn't for you, would it have fallen to this state? How dare you blame me? I won't take the blame for this. Shi Shang looked at the surging black aura for a while and asked in his heart, why is nothing happening to Mu Bai when he attacked the female lead? The system was silent for a while and answered seriously. It's not that nothing happened. It's just that the force acting on him was reduced. He should have endured it. What did it mean by the force acting on him was reduced? The protagonist's aura can be weakened. The changes made by the host are enough to weaken the protagonist's aura. Therefore, the weaker the protagonist's aura is, the less the external force will be suppressed. In other words, as long as the protagonist's aura was weakened, the male and female leads could be killed? Theoretically, yes. The reason why the male and female leads had such high luck was because they had the protagonist's aura. When they didn't have the protagonist's aura, they were the same as ordinary people. Shi Shang's gaze fell on the array again. The female lead was still inside. Go, go, go. Shi Shang suddenly pulled Yin Wei away. What's wrong? Yin Wei was confused. It's going to explode. Yin Wei. What was going to explode? Yin Wei was dragged far away by Shi Shang. Suddenly, a black aura soared into the sky behind them. A murderous aura instantly tainted the sky. The clear sky was instantly covered with black clouds. That retard is quite capable. Shi Shang looked at the scene in the distance, gritted his teeth, and smiled gloatingly. It's a pity that the people of this continent are the unlucky ones. Devil. Yin Wei was not unfamiliar with this scene. Humans degenerated into demons. Give me that piece of jade. Shi Shang extended his hand towards Yin Wei. This was the opportunity she had been waiting for. As long as there was murderous aura, she would be able to make the strange thing inside the black jade submit to her and let Yin Wei absorb it on its own. Yin Wei frowned subconsciously. Shi Shang glared at him impatiently. Give it to me. Yin Wei shook his head. If she wanted this piece of jade now, it must be related to this matter. He would not give it to her. Hey. Shi Shang grabbed Yin Wei and forcefully took out the black jade. Wait for me here. Shi Shang threw this sentence and flew towards the sky filled with murderous aura. In the blink of an eye, he could no longer see her figure. Yin Wei's expression was extremely ugly. He wanted to chase after him. Just as he moved, an iron sword appeared in front of him. The iron sword was like a mirror, showing his current appearance clearly. Yin Wei wanted to go around the iron sword, but the iron sword held the sword horizontally. It was obvious that it would not allow him to go over. No matter how Yin Wei moved, the iron sword could accurately block his path. She will be in danger. Yin Wei knew that this sword was not an ordinary sword. After he could not force his way through, he was prepared to use a soft approach. The iron sword hummed twice. Its master would not do anything that she was not confident of. Although she was not afraid of death, she cherished her life. She would not joke about her own life. Since she dared to rush forward, she must have a way to protect herself. Yin Wei definitely did not understand what the iron sword was trying to express. Since the soft approach did not work, he was prepared to use force. The iron sword could pierce the sky and break the earth. How could Yin Wei defeat the iron sword? Yin Wei already felt that this sword was very strange. Now, he felt even stranger. It could unleash such power without anyone controlling it. If someone could unleash its full power, what kind of scene would it be? Yin Wei felt that those godly weapons that he had heard of in the past were extremely weak compared to this iron sword. Rumble! A deafening sound came from the sky. Lightning flashed through the dark clouds and struck down diagonally from the sky, as if it was going to split the sky into two halves. Let me go over. Yin Wei was a little anxious. Buzz. No, Master won't let you go over. Just as Yin Wei was entangled with the iron sword, Shi Shang had already collected the murderous aura he needed and was prepared to leave this area. When she turned around, a gust of black aura swept behind her. That violent aura seemed to want to swallow her whole body. Be careful. Shi Shang looked at the person who was rushing towards him. The corner of his mouth twitched and he quickly rushed towards her. The black aura behind him was getting closer and closer. A strong wind blew. Murderous intent was everywhere. Shi Shang jumped and landed in front of Yin Wei. He hugged her waist. Yin Wei immediately used the space to bring the two of them to a safe place. Are you stupid? Shi Shang was so angry that his hair stood on end. Damn, how did you learn the female lead's death-seeking skill? Yin Wei felt wronged. I was worried about you. Shi Shang's anger was stuck in his chest. He could not go up or down. After a while he muttered, Damn, I really owed you in my previous life. Yin Wei deliberated her words and said slowly, I know you have ways to protect yourself, but I don't want you to rush in front of everything. I also want to give you a place to shelter you from the wind and rain. Ha! Shi Shang threw the black jade into Yin Wei's arms. With your lousy body, you will die in minutes. Why are you trying to be strong? Evil spirit was the favorite thing of demons. It could strengthen their strength. If Yin Wei brought the black jade over, the thing inside the black jade could immediately take over his body. With a trash body, he still wanted to be the male lead and save the damsel in distress. Shi Shang wanted to slap him to death. Yin Wei did not speak for a long time. Shi Shang rarely reflected. Maybe he was too harsh with his words. Are you angry? Yin Wei shook her head. She held the black jade tightly in her hand. Am I very useless? He needed his woman to rush in front. You are very lucky. Yin Wei lifted his eyelids. His gaze barged into Shi Shang's eyes without any warning. He seemed to have seen a vast starry sky with twinkling stars. And he was the only one in that starry sky who was closest to her. Her voice passed through the starry sky. It was muffled but fell into his ears. Yet it was extremely clear. No one can make me do anything for them. You are very lucky. Chapter 797. Feng Qing ran away. While Shi Shang was talking to Yin Wei, she ran away without a word. This refreshed Shi Shang's understanding of the female lead. Because Feng Qing left, the black energy of the array began to spread and spread. The black energy gradually thinned and the situation inside the array could be seen clearly. Mu Bai's corpse was lying on the ground in a strange position, as if he was offering a pious sacrifice. His body had long lost its vitality and was now like a withered tree trunk, giving people a strange feeling. No one knew what had happened in the array formation in the end. Except for Mu Bai. Shi Shang looked at the black energy that filled the sky and the corners of his mouth curled up. This was going to be fun. Feng Qing had turned into a demon. If she couldn't control the desire in her body, she would soon kill people. When that time came, the continent would be filled with blood. Yin Wei held the black jade and stood beside Shi Shang. He looked at her gently as if he wanted to carve her figure into his heart. Shi Shang turned his head and met Yin Wei's gentle eyes. Shi Shang didn't have any romantic thoughts. He just pointed at the black jade in his hand and said calmly, "Find a place and take care of it." If this thing wasn't taken care of, she would feel unsafe. Yin Wei. The black jade was filled with killing intent. If the demon inside absorbed it, it would be greatly beneficial to him. But the key was that he couldn't absorb it. It was too much. So much that he couldn't withstand such a huge amount of power. However, it still wanted to give it a try. Maybe he would succeed? As long as he succeeded, he could avenge himself and kill that hateful woman and Yin Wei. Just as he was at the critical moment of absorbing, he suddenly felt his strength quickly drain away. He wanted to resist, but it was useless. He didn't want to disappear like this. He still had a lot of things to do. He hadn't conquered the continent yet. He didn't want to die. He didn't want to die. Even if he died, he wanted to drag someone down with him. That's right. Shi Shang stared at Yin Wei. Seeing his expression getting uglier, his eyes darkened. He knew that thing wouldn't be so obedient. His hands quickly formed a seal and he reached out to cover Yin Wei's back. Yin Wei felt that the absorption, which was still very difficult just now, seemed to have become smoother now. He increased his absorption speed. With Shi Shang's help, Yin Wei took care of the devil in the black jade before it could gather enough energy to self-destruct. Almost at the same time, the Imperial Advisor's residence, which was thousands of miles away, collapsed with a loud bang. The black gas inside quickly spread out. Yin Wei slowly opened his eyes. He lowered his head to look at his hand and did not come back to his senses for a long time. After a long while, he slowly raised his head and looked at the woman beside him. "Thank you." Shi Shang raised his eyebrows slightly. "What are you going to thank me with?" Yin Wei reached out to hold Shi Shang's hand and gently pulled him into her arms. "How about giving yourself to me?" "That's a good idea." Shi Shang nodded seriously. Yin Wei laughed and rubbed her face intimately. "Can't you be more reserved?" "Why should I be reserved with you?" Shi Shang almost couldn't help but roll his eyes. If she was reserved with this guy, she could forget about sleeping with him for the rest of her life. "You just need to stand behind me in the future." He could also hold up the sky for her. He could give her anything she wanted. "Okay." Shi Shang agreed quickly, but he didn't know if he would do it or not. "What do you want from the Devil Flame Ridge?" Shi Shang remembered something important. This guy had always thought that she wanted to do something for him. She had thought about it before, but she didn't know what he wanted to do at the time. The Shen Beast rampage in the Devil Flame Ridge must have something to do with him and the blood Kirin that had appeared out of nowhere. Yin Wei looked at Shi Shang strangely. You don't know? Am I a know-it-all? Do I know everything?" Yin Wei was silent for a moment. A godly item. He wasn't talking about a godly item, but a godly item. There was a big difference between godly items and godly items. Many godly items weren't made by gods, but godly items were. In ancient times, there had probably been gods in this world. That blood Kirin is a guardian? Every treasure had a guardian. There had to be a guardian. The blood Kirin hadn't appeared in the original plot because Yin Wei had changed the plot. "Yes." Yin Wei stroked Shi Shang's collarbone and said softly, "It's not important. I have you." Nothing was more important than her. This was something that Yin Wei understood when they met. A long time later, Yin Wei would have the illusion that with his wife in hand, the world was his. His wife always wanted to spoil him. Why? He just wanted to be a wife-spoiling demon. Why was it so hard? Feng Qing became a demon because her hatred for Shi Shang was too strong. She couldn't control the demon energy in her body. She needed to kill. She needed the taste of blood. Feng Qing was curled up in her room. She was wrapped in a black robe that covered her tightly. She hugged her body tightly. There was a voice in her heart that kept urging her. Kill. Kill. Then it wouldn't be so bad. What was so good about people? Hypocrisy, greed, selfishness. They all deserved to die. Kill these damn people, and you can become stronger. Don't you want revenge? Feng Jian is laughing at you. She's laughing at you. Look. She's here. You're trash. Trash. You can't compare to her in anything. You were like this in your previous life, and you're still like this in this life. She deserves to live a better life than you. No. Feng Qing shouted hoarsely. Why did she deserve to live a better life than her? She was so talented. She should be the one giving orders. Why? 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 That voice came again. That's right. Kill. As long as you're strong, it'll be easy to kill her. Only when you're strong can you trample on those who humiliated you. Knock, knock. Miss, here's the hot water you asked for. There was a sudden knock on the door. Feng Qing's face, which was buried in her arms, suddenly looked up. Her eyes were scarlet, as if she was an evil spirit from hell. Her face turned ferocious for a moment, but she quickly suppressed it. Come in. The door was pushed open. The waiter came in with hot water and put it on the shelf. When he lowered his head, he saw his face reflected in the hot water. Ah! Before he could scream, his voice was cut off. The waiter's body slowly fell down, spilling the hot water. The copper basin fell next to the waiter's body with a dull thud. His eyes were open, and there seemed to be the last remnants of fear in them. When Feng Qing killed the first person, she couldn't control herself anymore. She wanted to kill more people. She wanted to become stronger. She wanted Feng Jian dead. Asterisk little fairy. I'm begging for monthly votes at the end of the month. Come, it's the end of the month. There's no point in keeping it. Give me some. Chapter 798. The more Feng Qing killed, the more she couldn't control herself and wanted to kill more. The benefit was that she became stronger and stronger. In the beginning, she would hide it when she killed, but as her strength grew, she didn't hide it anymore and began to kill without restraint. She could cause panic wherever she went. Feng Qing couldn't find Shishang, but she met someone she didn't expect. Helian Yu, the man who abandoned her. He was also the one who stole the 2 qilins. Helian Yu had told Feng Qing that she had forgiven him at that time. But in Feng Qing's eyes, Helian Yu's words were all excuses. If it wasn't for him, how could she become like this now? At the array, he actually listened to Dong Fonghai's words. Unforgivable. Feng Qing followed Helian Yu all the way to a deserted place. Feng Qing didn't hide anymore and attacked. Helian Yu didn't know that someone was following him and was caught off guard. Compared to humans, demons were a shortcut to cultivation. Feng Qing's strength was completely higher than Helian Yu's. After dealing with the people around him, she stepped on him. Only then did Helian Yu see the face hidden under the black hood. Feng Qing, it's you. Helian Yu was stunned. He probably didn't expect to see this woman like this. Looking at her appearance, Helian Yu immediately understood who the demon that was the talk of the continent recently was. Feng Qing lowered her head and stretched out a pale and thin hand from under the black cloak. She pinched Helian Yu's chin and looked at him as if she was looking at an object. Her voice was sharp and harsh. Helian Yu, you didn't expect me to die, right? Helian Yu calmed down. What do you want? What do I want? Feng Qing seemed to be thinking. In the next second, she suddenly became ferocious. Helian Yu, what do you think I want? I want you to die. Feng Qing, I couldn't do anything about what happened that day. Helian Yu calmly defended himself. Whatever you want, I can compensate you right now. Feng Qing sneered. Couldn't do anything. She stretched out her other hand and lifted the mask on Helian Yu's face. She wanted to see what this man looked like, wearing a mask and acting so mysterious. Helian Yu seemed to notice Feng Qing's intentions and scolded her in a low voice. Feng Qing. Feng Qing pressed down on him and her fingers quickly took off the mask. When the mask was lifted, Feng Qing was startled. Then he laughed loudly. I had thought that Qi Yan's emperor was some kind of handsome and mighty warrior, but it turns out he's an ugly monster. No wonder he wears a mask. Feng Qing's words were like a thorn that pierced Helian Yu's heart. There were many green totems on the left side of his face. He didn't know what they were, but they had been there since he was born. It was because of this that he was despised by his parents and teased by his brothers. Now that Feng Qing was mocking him, those unbearable memories seemed to be instantly activated. They kept replaying in front of him, overlapping with the mocking face of this woman in front of him. The anger in his heart began to burn. Can we really kill her this time? It should be possible. If so many seniors can't kill her, then wouldn't this continent be finished? Who are we killing? Feng Qing. The person who spoke turned around and looked at the person who asked the question. You don't know? Where is it? Right in front. That person pointed forward, but I advise you not to go over, to avoid accidental injury. Shishang nodded slightly and walked past them. He walked a few steps to Yin Wei's side and hugged his arm. Let's go and watch the fight. Yin Wei helplessly shook his head. He didn't have the right to refuse. The place these people chose to fight was very good. It was a valley with a hillside. At this time, there were many people standing there. The battle below had already begun. All kinds of heaven-shattering lights were flying about chaotically, and the ground was trembling from the sound. Shishang found a good spot. There were several people squatting next to him. He also squatted down. Yin Wei refused to do such a disgraceful thing, so he stood behind her to make sure no one behind her could plot against her. Feng Qing is so strong. She's still not dead. I think it's over this time. Why don't we retreat? If she takes care of the people below, we'll be the unlucky ones. Don't be an alarmist. There are so many people. Can't they deal with one person? The people who spoke were silent for a moment. In the end, no one moved and continued to stare below. Just as they were getting nervous, there was a sudden crunching sound. It was fine if it was just one or two sounds, but it didn't stop. It was like a mouse crunching next to their ears. Some people couldn't help but turn around to look. A young woman was squatting a few steps away from them. There was a pile of melon seed shells on the ground. Everyone. Was she watching a show? She was even eating melon seeds. Why are you looking at me? Shishang looked at those people. Look below. Flip's table. How could they watch you eat melon seeds here? Seeing that those people were still looking at him, Shishang kindly gave them some melon seeds. Everyone holding a pile of melon seeds. Who wants your melon seeds? It was quite delicious. Better than anything they had eaten before. So the people near Shishang began to eat melon seeds collectively. The nervousness from before disappeared. Elder Zhang can't take it anymore. Feng Qing is too fast. Crunch crunch. Those seniors are always on the outside. How can Elder Zhang handle it alone? They're still not united at this time. Elder Zhang is doomed. Crunch crunch. Feng Qing is too cruel. Last time, Helian Yu, Qi Yan's monarch, died at her hands. If we can't kill her this time, everyone has to be careful in the future. Gotcha. Helian Yu is dead? Shishang interrupted. Little girl, you don't know? The other person's eyes lit up. He asked the people next to him to make room for him. Let me tell you. The others didn't want to hear it. It was obvious that this person had said it many times. But Shishang didn't know. Helian Yu was dead. He was killed by Feng Qing. The method was especially cruel. It was done in public. No one dared to help. They could only watch as Helian Yu was tortured to death. Even after he died, Feng Qing didn't let him go and hung him on the city wall. I don't know how this emperor offended Feng Qing. The person who spoke shook his head. Speaking of which, this emperor is quite unlucky. The Feng family's third young miss swept across the continent with her mystical beasts. Now that Song Lan has unified the continent, this emperor is useless. Now he died at Feng Qing's hands. He is quite unlucky. He died at the hands of the Feng family. The person next to him concluded. Speaking of that Feng family's third young miss, she's also quite amazing. I don't know how she managed to control so many mystical beasts. What's so amazing about that? There's no good person in the Feng family. They're cold-blooded and heartless. I don't think so. When the mystical beasts swept across the continent, they didn't hurt many people. I heard that only those who actively resisted were attacked by the mystical beasts. If you want to unify the continent, how can there be no sacrifice? Speaking of which, how did she disappear in the end? Shi Sheng silently ate melon seeds. Chapter 799. While these people were eating melon seeds and chatting, the battle below was almost over. Feng Qing had already killed several people and there were only 2 left. It was obvious that she couldn't hold on any longer and wanted to retreat. The onlookers on the hillside were probably afraid that they would be implicated if they lost, so they all began to retreat. If they really lost, Feng Qing would go berserk and they would all be buried with her. The people eating melon seeds also felt that they couldn't stay any longer and prepared to leave. They probably reminded her because Shi Sheng had provided them with melon seeds. Shi Sheng stood up with them and when they thought she was going to leave, he took out his sword and jumped down. Everyone was stunned. "Little girl, we're letting you leave, not sending you to your death." Just as they were dumbfounded, a gust of wind swept past their ears, and another figure rushed down. Everyone was still stunned. They had never seen someone rush up to seek death like this. Should we leave or not? Why leave? The little girl isn't afraid, why should we be afraid? Not leaving, not leaving. So they squatted down again, eating melon seeds. The 2 seniors were already preparing to leave, but who knew that 2 people would rush down at this time? Before they could see clearly, there was a violent explosion. A shocking power came from the explosion and the 2 old men almost knelt down. This power. Having lived to such an age, they had naturally seen many things. This was the power of the heavens. But it was a bit different. They couldn't tell what was different, but this was definitely the power of the heavens. The 2 looked at the explosion at the same time. Where Feng Qing had been standing was now a large hole. Feng Qing was standing a little further away from the hole and there were 2 people standing in front of her. One of the 2 seniors came from the Zhonglan Empire and recognized the 2 people. He couldn't help but cry out, "State teacher. Old man, you know them?" That person nodded and his expression became serious. State teacher Yin Wei and Feng family's third Miss Feng Jiyin. They are the 2 people who led the Xian beasts to sweep the continent. The other person was surprised. Why are they here? Let's wait and see. On the other side of the large hole, Feng Qing was a bit afraid of the flashing lightning in the hole and fear came from the bottom of her heart. But when she saw Shi Sheng, her fear turned into hatred. Feng Jiyin. She actually dared to appear in front of her. Shi Sheng raised his voice to greet her. "Feng Qing, long time no see. You seem to be doing quite well." Feng Qing was furious. Shut up. Was she considered not bad? Being cursed at and hunted down by the entire continent was not the kind of life she wanted. Shi Sheng shrugged and turned to Yin Wei. "Don't go near this pit." Yin Wei also realized that she was very repulsed by this huge pit. It was very stifling, as if it was something that reinforced and restrained each other. He nodded slightly. Yes. Yin Wei should be considered a fiend now. Previously, he had signed a cohabitation contract with that fiend. He was already a half-fiend. After devouring that fiend, the cohabitation contract disappeared. He had already been assimilated. The energy ball exploded with heavenly thunder, which naturally suppressed Motion. Shi Sheng swung his iron sword and looked at the 2 old men in the distance. "Don't run, you 2. It's up to you to make the final move. The two old men. What did he mean by it's up to them to make the final move? They really wanted to run. This Feng Qingqing was not that easy to deal with. She had many pills on her. Even if she was injured, she could quickly recover. Just as the two old men were dumbfounded, Shishang had already circled around the huge pit and swept towards Feng Qingqing. Shishang directly attacked, which seemed to be what Feng Qingqing wanted. She wanted her to die. For Feng Qingqing, she didn't find it difficult to deal with those people. Even if she was injured, it was because they had more people. But it was different against Shishang. His speed was not slower than hers and his moves were completely disorderly. It was always different from what she expected. The most terrifying thing was the sword in his hand. The aura it emitted made her heart tremble. Last time, she was injured by this sword. Now that she saw it again, it was even more of an eyesore. She wanted to destroy it. The two eyes stood on the side. That sword. Is it the peerless sword that they fought so desperately for? It should be. At that time, everyone on the continent thought they would be able to obtain the divine weapon, but in the end, no one could take it away. This name was strange. They heard that when they asked her for her name, she thought for a long time before answering. It was clearly nonsense. They had never heard of any peerless sword. Everyone was being played by this Feng third young miss. Feng Jiyin. A high-pitched female voice broke through the clouds, filled with resentment. Shishang dug his ears. I can hear you. Why are you so loud? I'm going to kill you, kill you. Feng Qingqing shouted somewhat crazily. Shishang continued to provoke Feng Qingqing. Come and kill me. Do you think this treasure is easily scared? Feng Qingqing's surroundings quickly surged with black energy. Her eyes were filled with madness. Right now, she only wanted to kill her. The black energy condensed into a long sword behind Feng Qingqing. The blade of the sword was not much different from Shishang's. Shishang frowned. Feng Qingqing waved her sleeve and the black sword charged at Shishang. She unconsciously used her iron sword to block it. But when the black sword touched the blade, her body was sent flying. Shishang steadied himself in the air. Yin Wei charged over from the side and anxiously checked if Shishang was injured. Shishang's cold eyes looked at the black sword floating in front of Feng Qingqing. Copy. He actually copied her iron sword's ability. Powerful. But a copy was a copy. A fake was a fake and would never become real. How could her things be so easy to copy? Yin Wei's face was cold. She carried Shishang to the ground and disappeared. When he appeared again, he was already in front of Feng Qingqing. The demon that Yin Wei swallowed was probably very strong. His current strength was above Feng Qingqing's, but Feng Qingqing had a copy of Shishang's iron sword. It was a bit troublesome for Yin Wei to deal with. Shishang went forward again. Feng Qingqing thought he was going to attack her, but he pulled Yin Wei and quickly retreated to a safe distance. Let me do it. You can't deal with her. No one knew better than her how powerful her things were. Xiao Ji. Yin Wei frowned. I said. Shishang interrupted Yin Wei. Let me do it this time. I'll listen to you in the future. Yin Wei frowned. How confident are you? Shishang's lips curled. He was arrogant and egotistical. 100%. I won't let you be in danger. Yin Wei slowly let go of her hand. She was telling Shishang that as long as she was in the slightest bit of danger, he would not stand by and do nothing. You won't. #hashtag today's sunflower seed flavored votes #monthly votes. Last few days. Votes. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.